Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy Jack here at the Irish Hotspur, here to bring you the first fan show of the week for the North London Derby week. It isn't any ordinary week. It is a very special week here, everybody. It's the North London Derby week. Plenty of content to come out, and this is the first bit of it. It is the fan show. We already had a bit of a pre-record this morning where we discussed the 3-4-3 versus the 3-5-2. The podcast will be coming out tomorrow morning. I believe we're going to be speaking to some Arsenal fans as well lined up. So it's a massive week, Spurs fans. So I would say just kind of hunker in, stay in, have some maybe things cooked up because there's going to be plenty of content here. But to get us started perfectly on this North London Derby week, filling in for Dave, no better substitution we could offer than Mr. Daigle. Brian Daigle, yet again, filling in as the co-host. Thanks for coming in, brother, and it's good to see you.
It's always a pleasure whenever one of you two can't make it and I get that call. It's always a smile on my face because I get to talk Tottenham with everyone in the Irish Hotspurs army, and it's always a pleasure to be with you, Jack, man. We spend a lot of time together, and it's always a pleasure. And what better week to come in, the week against where if we win, all our Christmases, birthdays, and religious holidays roll into one, and if we lose, it's 50 shades worse than hell. So let's hope for the first one to be, and I think it will be.
Certainly. But unlike Southgate, when you do get that call up, Brian, we actually play you and we actually give you, the minutes on the pitch here. So, but we'll greet a bit of the Harris Army, and then we'll get into the fan show because I'm pretty sure there are going to be plenty of people who want to have their say. And everybody, as you probably know, but in case you didn't, if you do have that fan show membership, do check your community section because the link is out there for you. I'm going to go personally as long as you guys need me to. We're going to go basically till no one wants to speak any longer. We're probably going to go through as many guests as we need to. So everybody do strap in and get ready for it. Of course, Daigle is going to put in the shift that he can. And we're just going to have a nice kind of relaxing, but also kind of hopefully energetic fan show because it is going to be a massive week, everybody. But enough talking for me. Let's greet a bit of the Harris Army here. We got KPV who upgraded the membership. Big yourself up, brother. And hopefully we get to speak to you later. We will be speaking to KPV later. What am I saying? Dell Support in the house. Big yourself up. Dell Support. Pierogi. Big yourself up. Always good to see you. My man Mick Hermelak in the house as well. Really generous. And he's very generous of his time. Always tuning in no matter what. Big up, Mick. Dermot will not be joining us, everybody, but do wish him well and do kind of just at least, also if you haven't already, check out the channel, leave a like, show some support for Ellie, of course, who we'll be speaking to later. Plenty of people from THFC Till I Die that will probably be on tonight, but everybody keep Dermot in mind. Not really feeling his best right now, so everybody put some love in the chat for Dermot. Pick yourself up, brother, and hang in there, my man. Luke C in the house, good to see you, my man. And I feel like a bit of a newcomer maybe to the channel, but been here a lot recently. So big yourself up, Luke C. Big up Level Earth. Big up Brad Matthews. We'll be speaking to him later. Brian Daigle has already said his hellos. Good to see that. Drew Law, evening guys. Big up, Drew. We also have Dan Coys. What a week to return to Spurs ball with the North London Derby. Big up Brian and Jack. Come on, you Spurs. Pick yourself up, Dan Coys. Frank Last is in the house as well. Hi to the guys and all the chat. Can't wait for this game. Absolutely massive. To be fair, I'm in that stage where I can't wait for it too, Frank. But I don't know. Like, Brian, when you get the day before, do you get a bit nervous? Like, do you just want to get it over with right away? Are you kind of happy it's a few days away? I don't know. With these sort of fixtures, I get a bit nervous. I almost want to play it right away.
So this fixture, both home and away, I have very different ways of looking at it. It all starts with just watching a week's worth of Spurs' best goals against the field, best games from start to finish, everything. And I get more and more excited when it's at our ground. I get more and more excited for the game. I do get excited for this, but with this one, there's a level of fear. Just because every time we go to the Emirates, we know how we normally play. And it disappoints me that this is the game we decide not to turn up at. So, and then the thing with the night before, I don't sleep. I just categorize, even if I wanted to. And I'm fine until that hour before the kickoff. Then that hour takes like 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. It takes like 3 weeks and all the nerves come in. But yeah, I wish it could just be wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, done. And just get it over and done with because the build up is just agonizing.
It is, and it could be like you said, it could be the best present you've ever received in your entire lifetime, or it could end up being almost apocalyptic in, in scenarios. And who knows whether you want to just build up all the suspense and wait weeks on end. So that's some people's case. Some people just want to get it over with. Big up, our Green. Good to see you, and really appreciate you tuning in as always. Big up, Lisa as well. Absolute
Big
legend,
up.
Lisa Odley is really appreciative of your support. We've got Faz Radfar in the house, the absolute legend and mainstay that he is. Big yourself up, Faz. Want Daniel Sandoval, good to see you. Making sure I'm not get down the chat here. There we go. Simon Davies, good to see you, Simon. Jay Keaveney in the chat as well. Dave will, I think he's actually enjoying the Ireland game, Jay. So that's why Brian Daigle is filled in. David Harris is in the very, very enviable position of a rainy, cold night watching Ireland play Armenia. So as much as probably that's where everybody wants to be right now, this is where people have decided to join us as on the fan show. But Dave is enjoying himself watching the boys in green play on a wet night, I believe, against Armenia. So you can tell how much of a dedicated supporter he is of the boys in green, Brian. Doesn't sound like the most entertaining game.
Put it this way: if England was on tonight and I got asked to do this, I would be saying piss off England, and I would be here just because we are just, and the way we're playing, it's just I if I had tickets for Wembley and I was back in London, I still would have been no, thank you, no, thank you.
Yeah, maybe no. You wouldn't want to see Armenia versus England at the Millennium. Maybe not. Pick up Jake Evening. Really appreciate your support, brother. We got Dude, big yourself up. Love the name as well. We got Sakil in the house saying Son has scored 8 goals in 6 games against Arsenal. I mean, he's an absolute menace. And also, since scoring those goals against Leicester, Sakil, I mean, he's been tearing it apart in international break. Maybe finally Sonny is just letting the floodgates open here. Big yourself up, Neil, saying give Spence a run. Out would like to see if he has anything to bring. I think we know he has something to bring. It's just when will Conte give him that chance, Neil, is really the question. Big yourself up. G&D, good to see you. Simboy Tubbs, good to see you as well. Badrul Mazid, absolute legend as well. Good to see you. Leah Cooper, evening all. Come on, you Spurs, North London, Derby week, and Conte at the helm playing away does not seem as daunting as it has been in previous years. I mean, Dave and I spoke about this on the podcast, which will be released tomorrow, Leah, but I absolutely agree with you there. And maybe I'll get Daigle's thoughts on this in just a second here. But it feels like maybe in past years with Pochettino, while we played that really beautiful, really, pleasing on the eye sort of football, there were certain games where I thought maybe we approached it a bit naively. It might have been because we had a young team, not as experienced of a team, but also Pochettino maybe not being as experienced of a manager either. Whereas now, like Conte, it's like he would be the last manager on earth, I feel like, Leah, to let that result that Nuno let happen against the likes of the Scum last season, that 3-0 at halftime. I mean, Conte is the last manager on earth that would see that happen. And that sort of gives me a bit of confidence, if you ask me, because he is a guy that not only demands respect from his players, but his players also sort of fear him in a way. So they would by no means almost at all let that sort of fixture or that sort of result kind of happen that did happen last season. Whereas it felt like maybe, I don't know about you, Brian, but maybe with Nuno, with how it was going, perhaps the players weren't really fighting for him in that North London derby, how normally a Spurs team would for their manager.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, and I've said this before. If I was the manager of Tottenham in that performance that Nuno gave, I would have even allowed him in the dressing room. I said, get out and walk home. Get out and walk with the fans and explain yourself to them. Because no matter what happens with this game, yes, you can lose a game. Yes, you can lose it even when you've been the better team or you put in a good performance. That's part of sport. But that performance was unacceptable.
Yeah,
that was totally unacceptable. And I would have said, out you go, off you go, walk with the fans, including the Arsenal fans. And this is what they have to deal with. There's so much at stake with this game, not just for the players, for going into work the next day. And believe me, having lived in North London most of my life, after you've lost badly, or even if you've lost to the filth, you hate being a Spurs fan. Walking into work and you know what you're going to get. And what I will say, when Leah said this, I agree to an extent, because if you look at it, this season it's been better. It's been a lot better. But last season, you just got to look. We'll go and beat Manchester City away, and then we'll lose to Burnley away. Yep. It's always with Conte, the big teams we go and play away, we just seem more resolute. We see more programmed to do it. It's those lesser games. But this season, from what we've seen, what Leah's saying is completely right.
Mm-hmm.
But Conte started, and that, let's face it weren't his team. Now it is his team with the pre-season. So, like Leah says, I fully expect that and believe that when we go away nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. Really well said there, Dago. And honestly, great comment there, Leah. Really do appreciate it. Patty Harnett saying hello to all you on non-Irish
Big
football
up, Paddy.
people. Using the grandmother rule today, Patty, filling in for Dave, as well as Mr. Daigle here. We're going to find any Irish relative we can to qualify as Irish for the for the fan show today. Pick yourself up, Patty. Crankshar 91, good to see you. Ken Wiggle, good to see you. Saying, Brian, we've been there and won in recent history. Last season was an anomaly. I mean, I'd hope so, Ken.
Yeah,
I really do hope so.
Yeah,
That's the type of outlook I like to hear, Ken, but I do hope so.
When you say win there recently, we won in the Carabao Cup or whatever it was called back then, 2-0, and Arsenal played a weakened team. And obviously there's the 3-2 where Van der Vaart, Bow and Kabul scored. Apart from that, we might have got the odd draw there. It's just this ground. And this ground is the library. This is the only time of the year where it gets loud.
Mm-hmm.
This is the only time. And I've said it before. I think when we go to the Emirates, you get heard that thing, play the match, not the occasion. I think when we go there, we do it the other way around. We play the occasion, not the match. And it's North London. We've got to do that. And it falls beside them. But hopefully this will be the most confident I've been going into a North London derby at their ground in a long, long time.
And that's the most you can hope for, I think, because it's going to be a tough, grueling fixture, and it's not going to be pretty, and it's not going to be easy, and we're going to be nervous, Ken. But like I said before, and it seems like Ken and Brian, and we all seem to be kind of agreeing with each other here, that this is probably, even if we're not confident, the most confident that we've been maybe in some time going into this fixture, if there is any confidence at all. Pick yourself up, Ken. Marlon Green, always good to see you. If I haven't said hi to you already, big up Maquin, big up Ken Wiggle. You already said hello. Henry Sago, Sporting Lisbon. Hopefully we get the revenge. Big up Bill. Ricky, good to see you. Faz Radfire with the super chat. Richarlison has scored in all games for Brazil, and Sonny's fit and firing right now. Like I said, too, Faz, he's letting the floodgates open. But it is good to be seeing Richie scoring for the likes of Brazil, as well as with Gabby Jesus missing that call up. Probably Jesus was looking on, maybe hoping that Richarlison wouldn't score, maybe not look as best for the likes of Brazil. But with him, tearing it apart right now, I don't know. It's kind of nice to see that maybe Jesus is not going to get that call up. That would be kind of crazy as well, to see him not get the call up to the Brazil team.
What I will say with this is, obviously, there may be a reason, like some managers don't like certain players, and maybe this is it with Jesus, with the Brazilian manager. But what I was saying is, going into this game, which one is best? Seeing Richarlison, who is bang on form for Brazil, have been playing well for us, and knows that if he stays injury free is on that plane, or a pissed off Jesus who has no time to prove the manager. He's only got a limited amount of games now to get into that manager's plans, and has fire in his belly to say, right, you don't pick me, I'll show you why you should.
Mm-hmm.
So Richarlison goes no matter what. But Jesus has got a point to prove to not to the Arsenal fans, unfortunately, but to his national coach. And it could be dangerous. It could be very, very dangerous.
Yeah, really could be. And also this might be on a different sort of topic, but to maybe even think about this North London derby. If we are to go 3-5-2, I think Sonny is probably the best option to go alongside Kane. But in case he feels like maybe subbing one or the other out, I mean, Richarlison, I think, would also just fit into that 3-5-2 so effectively. So I don't know. I think Richie, it's good to see him fit and firing for the likes of Brazil. It's good to see that even after missing out, maybe playing the whole game against Leicester, not really having the best of performance, he then just turns it around in international break. I mean, he's an absolute legend already, I would say. Big yourself up fast.
You know the thing to say about Richarlison as well, Jack, is I would actually like him to start from the bench. And the reason I say that,
I agree,
is just wait till a couple of the Arsenal defenders are on yellow cards, and then just bring him on to do what he does. Just wind them the fuck up. Just literally be on them like flies, and just make them make that rush tackle.
He's made for these sort of games, isn't he?
Yeah, he is made to come on and wind up players that are on yellow cards, or stretch the game like he has done. I think well, this is under the illusion that we. Oh no, even if we played 3, he might go Kulusevski, Sunday.
True.
But I personally think seeing Richarlison on the bench, not because he deserves to be, because he's been scoring, but I think if you look at all those subs, the one guy that can come on and wind those players up the most, without a doubt, is Richarlison.
I agree.
Without a doubt.
Well said.
So
well
I
said.
think no matter his form, he's going to be the perfect weapon to be from the bench, and that's not. Like I said, that's not saying you've been dropped. It's playing the game and come on. So yeah, for me,
I would love to have that title. Perfect weapon off the bench, Faz.
Exactly.
That's what he just. I would want that title. It sounds glorious. Big up, Faz. Really appreciate your support. And anybody else, if you do want to stop the show at any stage, feel free to throw it in as a super chat. It's a great way to support the channel and get the conversation going. Big up, Elias. Good to see you in the chat. And then Rez Feber saying, I don't see Arsenal beating us. There will be so many moments in the game where Conte could outwit Arteta. We are definitely winning. I agree there, Rez. And on top of that, I feel like Arteta, he starts games off well. It feels like maybe he sets up his team the right way in a lot of games. But once it actually comes to sort of in-game decision-making, when he does need to make a bit of rotational change, or maybe he does need to change the shape or whatnot, he seems to actually get it wrong lots of times, Rez. I don't know what you think about that, but big yourself up, Rez. We got Nick Coy's in the house as well. Tony Austin, good to see you. Eugene, Slim Boys. Yeah, Richarlison inbound, brother. Hopefully he does get some minutes. Good to see
Big
Mr. Brian Ireland tuning in. Top Montour
name.
is in the house. I'm about to put in the link as well. I'm just trying to do, if only had 3 arms is what I would say. I'm kind of wishing I did, but we're going to put the link to Todd Montour throughout the stream as well, because Brian is putting in an absolute shift, everybody. But also greetings to the other Brian Ireland. Big yourself up, my man. It's got Scott Hynam, Derek Smith, Adrian Schroka. Good to see you, Adrian. And Leighton Evelyn, we got no chance against Arsenal. I mean, it's nice to see that not everybody is going into it with delusional optimism, Leighton. I like to see that, some people are not fully confident, because we need some sides of the argument. We need other sides of the voice. Pick yourself up, Leighton. But everybody, I'm going to get straight into it. Bring on our first guest of the evening. It is going to be the Queen Ellie Højbjerg. But before we do so, do smash that like button. Do get your comments into the chat as well. But let's get it going. We're going to Queen Ellie Højbjerg from THFC Till I Die. Queen Ellie, how we doing?
Big up, Ellie. You're on mute.
I think you muted yourself, Ellie.
Yeah, no, sorry about that. It's typical woman. Right, right. Yeah, let's bring on the Woolwich. I don't agree with this. We haven't got any chance against Arsenal. We've got every chance. We've got Sonny, we've got Kane, we've got Richarlison, we've got Kulu, we've got Højbjerg. Come on. Let's have some fighting spirit.
Yeah. I'm sure we will, Ellie. There's no doubt in the fighting spirit. The fans, there's no doubt, will bring it. It's just, like we said, this game, for some reason, especially the first half, this is why it's so, for me, and I don't know what everyone else thinks, that we have to go 3 in the middle, because every single time we go there, they just overload the midfield, and we can't handle it.
Yeah.
We just can't handle it. And it happens every single time. And I'm sure Conte will say, right, I know what to do here, but we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
We've got our secret weapon in Conte. Look, he's got 100% record against them as well. And he's out to outwit Arteta, because I don't think he quite likes Arteta. I think he's got a little dig at him, all the time. So
last season
he'll be winding him up this season as well. Don't worry. This week he's going to come out with some blinders.
Definitely. He took a few digs last season, Ellie. Wasn't he getting into the Lego man's head, if I recall?
Yeah, that's what he's going to do again. He's going to slowly build up to it until there's a crescendo, and he'll get under Arteta's skin, the Lego man. He'll put in these little Legos on his head.
Love it.
I can't wait. I can't wait for the game to start, because I think this is our very, very best chance of getting a result there. But I want us to turn up in style. I don't want us just to turn up. I want us to do it in style, and play them off the park.
You know what, Ellie? This is the one game I don't care how we play. I don't care if it's the most boringest game.
I kind of agree with Brian.
In the world. If we get 2 chances and take them, this is with this playing them off the park. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to play them off the park and beat them 4-0 and Kane score a hat-trick, or whoever score. I'd love to see that. But if you said to me right now, it'll be the most boringest game you've ever seen, and we'll score a 90th minute winner, will you take it? 100%. Won't even
you're
think
right.
about it.
But I'm from old school, right? I'm from old school. I agree with you, Brian. I do agree with you, but I'm from old school, right? I'm a 60s baby, so the 70s team and the 80s team was my teams, all right? Partly the 90s team, obviously, when Gaza played, but the teams that I watch played beautiful football and they can actually pass the ball. This team we've got limitations with passing. I found that our passing is not on point. Right, so what Arsenal's is on point.
Yeah.
So we've got to have that 5 through the middle. We have to. If he plays 3-4-3, I'm going to be very upset.
Do you think we stand less a chance? Do you think that's our only real chance of getting a result? Is probably that 3-5-2?
It's not our only real chance, but it's our best chance to get a result against them.
Good distinction. Yeah.
We don't want them walking through and then Bentancur and Højbjerg being occupied, filling 5 people's spaces, because that's what it works out to, you know. And it's not fair on them because it shows them up in a bad light when we do get found out in the middle. So I want us to be solid and actually keep the game safe and then pick them off, because we've got the better strike force. That's 100% guaranteed. No one can argue with that. You know,
do you think we'd have less of the ball as well if we did that 3-4-3? I mean, Marlon Green, I agree with him here, saying, you know, I'd take the win if we only got 35% possession. I mean, I'd take the win at any stage. But Ellie, on the topic of that 3-4-3 versus that 3-5-2, I mean, which one do you want to see? You said you want to win in style, so that would probably mean
3-5-2. I want to see the 3-5-2. The reason why is because we're not really brilliant in transition from the back to the middle, all right? But if we've got more players in the middle to hit, like Basuma, he'll run forever and he'll guard our defence as well. And then Højbjerg can have a free rein to get forward. Because you see what he did when he ran forward and made that Sonny goal. Nobody realised that Højbjerg can run that fast. Not too much on Højbjerg. What I want to see is our passing to be more crisper and faster, and that means don't give it to Dyer. Do not give it to Dyer. But the thing is, Romero tends to give it to him, so I'm really frustrated. I want us to see Longley play because he's fantastic at transition.
He will. David is out.
Obviously. So if Longley, obviously Longley's going to start, but I want to see him like carry the ball forward for us and hit those wing backs, because Perisic can do so much damage with his crossing. We've seen it already. And I don't really want to see Perisic tracking back. I want him to have a free roll like Hoddle used to have. You know, give him a free rein and then let the defence do their work, you know. Because if you've got a player like that, world-class player, you want him to affect the game at the top. Yeah? But I just
want him to express himself. You want him to be able to, free rein.
I want us to play well, but if we don't and we get a result, I'm with you, Brian. 90-minute winner, that does for me.
You want to take this? Sorry, Brian.
No,
sorry, you go.
No, I wasn't going to say anything. Go ahead, Jack.
Oh, I was just going to say maybe we can all take the super chat together from Rez here. Very generous one as well. And he says, our forwards are in form. Our midfielders are looking really good. The defense looks okay with Longley. It's just that right wing back position that's a concern for me. But we should be able to beat them. Player versus player, we are better. Love this, Rez. And I agree probably with that right wing back position. It's the only position that, especially with the 3-5-2, do you persist with Emerson? Maybe not. Maybe you would take a risk with a different sort of player that you know could offer something different. I know we'll get into that, but I kind of agree with him entirely here, Ellie, because I don't know, like it's probably crazy to go into this confident, but if you were to have any semblance of confidence, it would be probably this time. You know, this would be the year to be confident going against the likes of Arsenal. I know they have improved, but, you know, we're in a much better position than we've ever been. We have a much better manager who's more skilled and more kind of has that tactical nous, as well as just that almost mental sort of kind of solidity in these sort of games. It just, I don't know. There are a lot more reasons maybe to be confident going into this away fixture, even if it's almost impossible, it seems, to get the result. this might be one of the best teams to try to do it. And I think that's what Rez is trying to say here too.
Do you know what? I might be controversial here, but I find that Emerson, he always plays well when we're playing better teams. He always steps up. He plays
maybe for the compilations.
Honestly, I've been watching him. The Liverpool game away, he played really well. The Arsenal game at home, he played really well. The Brighton FA Cup game, he played really well.
Yeah, I
know that's not a big game, but I'm just pointing out that he does play well when it's important. So I'm not really concerned if Emerson starts. What I want to see is, I prefer Kulu to start, and I'm with you, Brian. Bring Richie on to wind them up and do his shithousery. All the players on the yellow cards, get in their face, and he will be. He'll be right up on their faces, and he'll be kicking them, and he'll be giving them all sorts of hell.
Yes.
Right. So Saliba's already got sent off once this season, I believe. Is that right? I think he's been sent off once before.
He's also had one of the own goals of the season as well. So who knows? Maybe he can help us out in that way.
Yeah. Well, I just think we've got too much for them up top. You know, if those three players are on point, Kulu, Kane and Sonny, we're going to win this game. But they've got to turn up, you know, and they've got to find Kane in positions where he can hurt the opposition as well. You know, I like Harry Kane when he plays the number 10 role, to be fair. I prefer that to him playing a number 9. And if it means that we've got to switch it up and play Harry Kane number 9 or Richarlison number 9, I prefer Kane to play that role first of all and find Sonny in the pockets. You know,
he's almost he plays more of that role. I feel like in the 3-5-2 sometimes, because it feels like recently in the 3-4-3 he's asked to maybe be, or at least taking up the positions of more traditional number 9, whereas in the 3-5-2 he's often kind of that path or that pass into the forward line that gets things going, you could say, in the 3-5-2. So he more or less plays like a number 10. Maybe that's a stretch,
I think this is the game that Kulu can shine again, because he was shining and then he went off the boil, then he got dropped and then he came back again. So I'm just hoping, because I like the boy. I like the way he nurtures the ball. I like the way he's intelligent. He brings players into the play. You know, he reminds me a bit like, he's a cross between Gaza and Waddle.
Mm-hmm.
He really is, because the way he holds the ball, he's very good at holding the ball, Brian. That's what I mean. Gaza, you couldn't get the ball off him. Yeah, holding the ball and nurturing it reminds me of Gaza. The wing play, the robustness, you know, the speed, the turn of speed is just like Chris Waddle. And also he can put yeah. He reminds me a lot of him, because he had a really good left peg as well. I love Kulu's left peg. It's brilliant. I just hope he bangs in a few.
Especially against the scum.
You know what I got to say about this? The one thing, what the Res is saying in the super chat is right, but what happens with this game is, it's like when you're playing top trumps. It doesn't matter who's got the best card. This game is nothing about player for player or pound for pound. This game is one mentally. This game, you can have the better team, whatever. If you're not mentally switched on for the North London derby, especially away where the fans, you know, you're going to get abused for however long. True. If you concede an early goal, do you drop your heads like we've done? I think the main thing for Conte is to literally say to them, like you hear about it when players sign for whatever club they are told, I know that uncertain, right? And I know you hate this team. You don't have a car that colour. You don't. When you think of them, your blood boils.
Don't get a red car.
If you want to be a Spurs legend, score a winning goal in this game, and you're made. Yeah. And you are made. Yeah. Look at Danny Rose. Weren't the winner, but look at Danny Rose. He, after that game, Spurs legend. No matter what happened throughout his career. So this game for me is I'd say 70% mentality, 30% player for player, because we do have don't get me wrong, we have the players to beat them, but the thing with Arsenal as well, what you've got to remember right now, mentally they are in a very good place.
Yeah, they're
They
not
are
defeated right
they
now.
are
They're not
playing
low.
good football. They have changed their style of play to accommodate the players they brought in to play Arteta's style of football. And yes, they've won every game apart from the big test they had, but that was at Old Trafford. This is
This is
at
at home.
This is at the Emirates. So for me, this game, like I said, player for player, the one weakness everyone agrees with is right wing back. Whether we play a three in midfield or a two in midfield.
Yeah, I know
If
what
it's
you
a
mean.
three, I said it on Bobby K's channel earlier, or on Sunday. I play Kulusevski at right wing back. If we go three in the middle, because then if he bombs up and doesn't get back, there's another midfielder that can say, "Hey, we
Sure.
go back to a two and drop it down." If it was a 3-4-3, then unfortunately he's not going to play Jeff Spence. Regardless, you know he's not going to bring him on for this game. It will be Emerson. So for me, this game is all about getting them switched on mentally.
Definitely. Big up, Rez. And player for player, I probably agree with you for the most part. I'm jealous of probably one of their center backs. I would say that Saliba is definitely a ball-playing center back I would like to have in my team. But he's wearing the Gooners red, so I don't want him, Rez. I want someone like him, but we need kind of a player like that. But player for player, like that confidence. And nonetheless, apart from the right wing back, we should be able to beat them. Like you said, big up, Rez. Really appreciate it. Really generous as well, my man. But Ellie, I mean, plenty more to talk about, but probably still maybe a few more talking points. I did have this kind of from earlier when I was speaking with Dave. Why do you think it's so hard maybe to get a result away from home? Is it just because form doesn't really go into it? Is it because there's so much pride on the line for the team that is at home? Why is it so difficult for either team to get a result?
Do you know what? For years, I thought they might have some sort of voodoo doll on us and they're sticking pins in us, you know, because every time we turn up there, we play our worst football. We just don't show up. It's like mentally, I agree with you as well, Brian. Mentally, I think we've got the upper hand this year because we beat them 3-0 at our ground with Conte. And Conte is a master mentalist. He is. That's where he earns his bread and butter, with the mental side of football, because he's from the Italian league. They're the best defenders as well in the Italian league. They know how to get results. And I see we know how to get results now. It's proven. We've gone 7 games unbeaten in the league. Was it 8? I can't remember. Yeah, 7 games unbeaten, right? So this is the Conte effect. He knows how to win this, man. And he's instilling that into our players. He's putting them out there. And then at half time, when we've had a shit show for the first half, normally that's what's happening, apart from the Fulham game, where we actually played well in the first half. Right, so he's sorting it out mentally with the players, right? Because these players have not won anything, right? They haven't got that winning mentality. So he's instilling that into them. And I think the way he gets into Arteta as well, that's vital to do this mental bit with Arteta, to wind him up, you know. So I think we've got the perfect man to get us the result. Now the players have just got to go out there and do it. Yeah? They've got to go on that pitch and mentally be strong. Like Conte won't take any slackers. If he sees you're slacking, you're off.
No, definitely. But no, this is a huge game where pride is on the line, not only for the Arsenal players and for in front of their fans, but I think there's some pride on the line, of course, you know, with our fans and with our players. But like I said before, I think these players fear Antonio Conte, Ellie, and I feel like, you know, a poor performance, a lackluster performance, maybe being a more accurate word there, would be something that Conte would not accept, and he would absolutely punish them to probably the highest way that he knows he can, at least physically, because I feel like even regardless of the fixture congestion, if a team puts in a lackluster performance where he knows they can put in more effort and he knows that they, like he would like to say, maybe didn't suffer enough, he'll definitely punish them. That's for sure. But Ellie, any kind of final words, maybe?
To that, Jack? Can I just add one thing? What I would like to say is, going into this game, motivation, first of all, it's the North London derby, you know, to go up a gear. And I know it will be only the 8th game, but to say to the players, You beat them on their own patch, you take them off top of the league and you replace them. It could be only for a few seconds until Man City play. It's only the 8th game. But to say to them, you can knock them off their bloody perch and be top of the league in their own garden, you wouldn't need to tell me anything else. I'll be like red rag to a bull. I'll be like, right, let's go. That's the only, you know what I mean? When it comes to motivation, how much more do you need? You know what I mean? It's only the 8th game, so don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we'll win in the league, but I don't think we've ever been in a position where we can go to their ground and knock them off top of the league to go top of the league. What a wonderful feeling that will be, not just for the players, but for us. Can you imagine the Spurs fans in the Arsenal end, like they were after Kabul's song, but just singing "We Are Top of the League" to wind it up, like they've been singing it all season, but to sing it to them in their own back garden has got to be the greatest bit of motivation ever.
I want to hear that song loud and proud, Brian.
Exactly.
Daniel just gave the team talk, is what Marlon says. Absolutely, he did. Absolutely, he did. Big up, Marlon. Ellie, any final words on this North London derby? And then also a good plug for THFC
of course. I just want us, like I said before, I want us to win, but I want us to win in style. It's nice to win in the 90th minute playing rubbish. It's okay. And we'll still be top of the league and we'll still be singing the same song. But you go there and you batter them like we did at White Hart Lane. Yeah, we did it in style, you know. So I want to see us play really well. Just any final thoughts, just that Conte is going to be the man. He's going to be crowing. His cockerel will be on top of his head. You know, because I just think Conte, he's the difference, you know, because we've more or less got the same sort of team, bar of 2 or 3 players. Right. You know, the essential team is there, right? But, you know, the mentality of the team's changed since Conte's taken over.
I agree.
Yeah, definitely. And, just
THFC till I die.
Woolwich.
Yeah, let's beat the Woolwich Wanderers.
We've got some exciting things tomorrow. We've got the North London debate and we've got Dino. He's a really good gooner. I don't like to say that, but he really is. He's a really good fan, right? So we've got him guesting on our show. I think David will be joining us as well, hopefully. So it's going to be a really banging show and we'll have a good old blast. Who's going to win the bragging rights? And then we've got a few other shows, but on Friday we've got a really tasty one, but I'm not allowed to say. Okay. Not yet. So watch this space. Yeah.
Great plug, Ellie. Great plug. Great. Colin, thank you for getting us started, Ellie. Starting us off on the right foot.
My pleasure.
The right sort of combo, right sort of energy. And we'll see you very soon. And everybody, check out that show with David tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. That sounds fun. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, big up,
Ellie,
Brian.
I'll speak to you soon. I'll give you a call.
Yeah, come on, Brian.
All right, Donna, I'll give you a call soon.
Thank you, guys, and come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. And don't say we trust, Ellie. Come on.
Bye-bye.
Catch you soon. Bye. Everybody, show Ellie some love. Everybody in the chat, and check out THFC Till I Die as well. You got the link there. No excuse, everybody. Show Ellie some love and give it a big red subscribe. But THFC Till I Die, Dermot here in the chat saying big up Queen Ellie, queen of THFC Till I Die. She absolutely is. And honestly, Dermot, sounds like a great show tomorrow. Definitely going to tune into that. So no better time, everybody, to hit that subscribe and hit that notification bell as well. We also had a member super chat from Marlon Green in the chat saying member for 5 months as a flat cap member saying, come on, you Spurs. Big up, Marlon. And he said, I would love to see Kulusevski at right wing back in a 3-5-2. Quick question, though, Brian.
Yeah.
If we were to go with Kulusevski as a right wing back in a 3-5-2, can you then also still put Perisic as a left wing back, or would you then put Sessegnon? I mean, how would you think about the left-hand side if you were to?
So the reason I still go with Perisic is if you look at it, kind of like what England's going through right now, our defence is our weakest asset. Our strikers are our main spark of everything. It's not like if you look back in the day with England when we had John Terry and Rio Ferdinand at the back, or Tony Adams and whoever played alongside him at the back, and you had with Ferdinand and Terry, you had Neville and Ashley Cole. that defence was sorted. That was slab shut. That was a great defence. We have problems going forward. So
Interesting.
I think we're likewise what in Southgate to do. At the moment, England have so much attacking quality as opposed to defensive. You look at Harry Maguire in midfield, in defence, Luke Shaw left back. It's a nonsense. It's our weakest thing. So you're always told to play to your strengths. And I would say right now, even though we've got Romero and whatever, our strongest asset is attacking. So seeing Kulu and Perisic, you got to remember that was the same with Dumfries and Perisic going forward for Inter.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them were going forward. Both of them knew how to play the game together, and both of them would put quality in. And if the strikers didn't get it, the other one was at the far post. So for me, Perisic and Kulusevski could be devastating. If they could get the chemistry right of when to go forward and when to go back in unison, that could be
wouldn't feel so negative if you went with that.
It would be the most lethal. It'd be like Robertson and Alexander-Arnold. You know what? They both love attacking, and that's what they're best at. And they still, all right, Trent's having a bit of a hard time now, but they both know what to do. So for me, regardless, Perisic on the left, always.
Love that. Big up Rez also as well. I mean, Conte has a headache on his hands because Kulusevski, though, could definitely do a job as a right wing back, but we know that he's also practically world class, even at his age, playing as a right wing as well. Big up Rez. Jerome in here with a super chat. And Jerome, feel free to pop on. I saw you pop on for a quick sec. Maybe it just tonight doesn't work for you, but if it doesn't, no worries. But please tune in this week. Such a special week, Jerome. We'll also be on Friday. I believe your fellow Aussie as well. Ribsy comes on as well Friday, and be a bit of a late one. I think it'd be like maybe midnight, sort of kind of your time, sort of Friday or at least Saturday, I guess technically morning. So if that sort of works for you, Jerome, I believe it would be 10 a.m. or like 3 p.m. UK time. If that works for you Friday, please pop on. But if tonight works on, please, Jerome, I want to speak to you, my man. I really want to speak to you. But he says, I don't care who plays. I just want us to win so that the Woolwich Nomads can put that in their history book. 10/1. We beat them at home. He wants October 1st to be basically a bank holiday for Spurs fans if they get that result. But a different term, you could say, for the Woolwich Wanderers. He's definitely used a different term this time, like Mira's had. But Jerome is kind of in the same boat that you are, Brian, where he just wants a result. Like he doesn't care how it happens. He'd probably be willing to. Do dishes for the whole week. Maybe do all the honey to-do list chores in the house and everything Jerome does in order to get that result. I bet he'd do anything for this result, and he doesn't even care if he watches the worst football he's ever seen on screen, as long as it's a good result for Spurs. And I think a lot of people agree with you there, Jerome.
Correct. Listen, this game, there's nothing I won't do within reason. I will say that I wouldn't do for 3 points at the Filth. There's not many things I wouldn't do. And like we said, yes, we'd love it to be a 3-0, 4-0 or whatever, or even a 2-0, but play them off the park. But this game, you say it's the most boring game ever on national TV or in the Premier League's history, but we were 1-0. Fine, we'll go down as having the worst game ever, but we got the 3 points, so I don't really care.
The most memorable result. Memorable result. There you go. Love it. Big up, Jerome. And I want to speak to you, my man. Please pop on it if you can. But if not, want to see you Friday. Big up, Jerome. Really appreciate your support, brother. Welsh gal in the house saying big up, Jack, Mr. Daigle, Queen Alley. Want to stop all the Lego heads. It's amazing. Bollocks on Saturday. I mean, he's definitely going to be looking for some sort of plan. The Lego head is, but hopefully with the likes of Antonio Conte, Welsh gal, we got somebody that can outsmart that Lego brain that he's got over there. But certainly a massive gain nonetheless. And his team is very confident at this moment, Welsh gal. I wish they weren't as confident. I wish they were going into it maybe a bit more uneasy, perhaps a bit more defeated. But it's going to be two teams going at each other with, you could say, full confidence maybe going into this one. Big yourself up, Welsh gal. And as always, really appreciate you tuning in. Anybody, if you feel like you want to get your comments up on screen, if you do want to stop the chat at all, and as well, maybe ask a guest anything that does come on, feel free to throw it in as a super chat. I'm going to continue to get your comments up on screen, but we're going to go to our next guest of the evening, and it is going to be the guitar man on the blue sofa, Brad Matthews. Good to see you, Brad.
Hey guys, how's it going? How's it going? I just like to say it's really sad to see the value of sterling going down and down and down, and also the pound's not doing very well either. So there you go.
Boom, boom.
Satire.
Boom, boom. How you been, Brad?
I'm good, thanks. Yes, I'm. It's interesting. To bring the camera forward. Interesting what you're saying about the North London derby, because I was sort of how you approach it. Because I'm sort of in the same boat. It's sort of you try to put it out of your mind. I do anyway, and every now and again it comes back, and you start getting nervous about it. But I'm just grateful it's on Saturday early, so it means that we get it out of the way. And if we have a good result, I can enjoy the rest of my day. So.
Brad, you do know you say that people like me and Jack. It's at 7:30 in the morning. If we lose, see, I moved to Canada, and the thing I love
North London derby for breakfast.
No, because when I lived back home with Alana, it was like she knew that the weekends kind of revolved around when Spurs were playing. If we lose, we don't go out. We don't do this. We don't. And it was always 3 o'clock, 7:45. So the day was ruined. Yeah, and it was brilliant when I moved here because I could watch a game and then have the rest of the afternoon and day. But 7:30 in the morning, if we lose this game, it is hard for the rest of the day or rest of the weekend. Day. Yeah, it's a very long day.
Well, I'm going to it's not really my local pub, but a pub I go to all the time, Greystoke in North Ealing, if anyone's in the area. And it used to be run by an Arsenal landlord who's thankfully not there anymore. But there are some regulars that are Arsenal fans, and it's not pleasant when we lose there. I tend to keep a low profile, but there's probably more Tottenham fans, to be fair. But it's going to be on the day of that. I'm so glad it's early. So sorry for you, Brian, and you, Jack, but I just go there, get up, have a shower, go to the pub, a few drinks, watch the game, get a good result, and then have a few more drinks. And then,
Oh, Brad, you forgot to flip the coin. If it works the other way and we win, it's beautiful for us because the day lasts longer. So
it's the start of the weekend.
Exactly. Well. So it's if it's 7:30 in the morning, we lose. It's like, what do I do for the rest of the day? And if it's 7:30 and we win, it's like zippity doo dah. Let's go and have some fun. So it depends which way it goes.
And also the other thing is because obviously over in the UK they don't have the 3 o'clock kickoffs live. But a friend of mine's meeting me there as well, and he's a Brentford fan, and they kick off at 3. So if Spurs have a good result, I can enjoy all the other games that's going on and comment on it. If we don't, it's it's depressing. But
I know what you mean.
We'll see. We'll have to see. I this season with the team we've got, I would expect to win, and I know it's not going to happen. I'd expect to win all of our home games, and I would expect to win all of our away games. There are 4 away grounds that I would take a point at the start of the season if you offered it to me. One of them is the Emirates. The other one is Anfield, Etihad, and Stamford Bridge. We've already got the point at Stamford Bridge. They're the 4 grounds that we don't have a good record at. So I'd accept it. I'd take a point if you offered to me now, but it'd be nice to win. Would be really nice to win.
Yeah,
you take a point. You take a point, Brad.
I probably would at the Emirates.
Come on, you'd be over the moon, Brad. You'd be over the moon with a point.
No, do you know what? I think this time I'd roll the dice.
Yeah.
Only this season because of Conte and what we're doing. Other seasons, I'm totally with you how it's been, but I just think after last season as well, there'll be such a problem that I'm prepared to roll the dice right now. I've just got a phone call. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Absolutely, Brian. Do what you need to do, brother. Do what you need to do. Simon Davies bringing up a good point here, I think, Brad. We've learned how to grind out a result this season. We've never really had that sort of skill before. I feel like this gives you encouragement that we could get a point here.
You know what? And I've said it on the show before. When we beat them at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium last season, convincingly, but it was almost like a routine performance. And that's what I think Conte's how he's got us playing. He's made us very professional, very routine sort of outfit that we go there and we do what we have to do to win the game. There's nothing flashy about us. Yeah, we've got some good players going forward, don't get me wrong, but it's like so I'm hoping that on Saturday we've got a coach there that will have a team out there and we won't be overawed by the occasion, because I think Brian said earlier, we tend to play the occasion rather than the game, and we'll treat it. I know it's not a normal game, of course it isn't, but we'll treat it as a normal game of football against a very good team. But we've got a very good team, and even though I'd take a point, I still, and Brian said throw the dice, I still would play an attacking lineup on Saturday. Now I know Conte's not going to do this, but I'd be very inclined to give Jed Spence a game at right back. Had Perisic at right wing back, Perisic as left wing back, had the three in the midfield, and just let them worry about us rather than us worry about their players. And I like the idea of Kulusevski as a right wing back, but I'm not so sure he can get the width there because he tends to always cut in. Whereas if you've got Jed Spence, they're going down that right hand side, you've got the width, and then make them worry about us. I don't think that will happen because I think Conte will play Emerson. I think Emerson will be our right wing back.
You know what, Brad? There's a couple of us in the comments we're talking about Kulusevski right back, saying he isn't a right back or a right wing back. Well, Antonio Conte himself even spoke about he can play in that position.
Game against Marseille. I mean, he single-handedly won us that game almost. You could say against Marseille.
Exactly. It might be the wrong time to try it in this fixture, and he's not the solution. But we spoke about, Lucas Moura's going to convert to a right wing back to keep his career. Emerson's there. Let's say no one can do a worse job than him. Doherty, whether he's not come back from his injury and they're biding time or he just doesn't suit. Emerson isn't working. He's not acknowledging Spence. And when there's one person in the comments said he doesn't have the pace to get up and down there. But that was my one point of only trying this in a three-man midfield. Because then if he can't get back, there's another midfielder that can cover that ground. If you do it with a two, then you're leaving your midfield short and we get overrun anyway. So
if I see the lineup and it's 3-5-2 and Kulusevski at right wing back, I'll be fine with that. Absolutely fine with it. But it's and he will cause problems by that cutting on the inside and doing that. It's interesting. I think that Spence and Doherty apparently had some reasonable games during the week in the international break, so that's interesting.
I think Spence is playing right now, Brad.
What's that?
I think Spence is playing right now in the England under-21.
Oh, they really? Okay. All right, got to go. Got to watch it. No. That'd be interesting. I don't think he'll get his chance on Saturday. I think Conte will play Emerson. But no, if he plays Kulusevski in that line, I do, however, think that and this is probably an attacking move, even though it sounds defensive. Play the three in the midfield, play the 3-5-2, have Kane and Son up top, have Richarlison, as you say, come on as a shock troop at the end. Just control that game. Just don't, in the first 20 minutes, just don't lose that game. Don't concede any goals whilst they got the crowd, because the crowd will be up for it. Just quieten the crowd in that first 20 minutes, half an hour. I don't even mind if we play cautiously. Just get the ball, have a bit of a pass round, and then the longer that game goes on, the more confident I'll be that we're actually going to win it. But I definitely go with the thing that we should make them, let them worry about us rather than us worry about them. But,
I know what you mean. What you mean. A lot of people are kind of saying here, Brad, that they feel like Spurs are almost good enough to not really settle or be as elated for a point as probably maybe I would be if we got a result. Do you kind of maybe agree with them, or are you kind of in my camp? I'm maybe perhaps thinking, or maybe they're kind of saying that I should be having higher expectations, maybe higher.
I think with the team, Conte and the players will want to win. They'll be disappointed if they don't win. They go to every game to win. The only difference is I've always said that the only difference is that when they go back to work on Monday, they go back to Tottenham Hotspur training ground to trade with Tottenham Hotspur players. All of us fans, I'm not working obviously at the moment, all us fans, when we go back to work on Monday, we probably have to deal with a lot of Arsenal fans. So that's what I'm saying about the point. You'd have to worry about that. But no, I agree. They'll be going out to win. They'll go out to win every game.
You know what, Brad, as well? This is the other thing with social media, because back in the day, it used to be, not going into work. Going, here we go, I'm going to get it. But now, because of social media, even Arsenal fans you don't even speak to or know, boom, out of the woodwork they come. Don't get me wrong, it's the other way around for us as well. But it's the joys of social media. When this game goes awry, we certainly know about it from a lot of people.
I'll tell you another thing that's going to be interesting is we've got, and I'm not sure about Arsenal, but we've got, I think, 3 players that are flying back from the other side of the world. So that might even influence selection on Saturday if they're not fully, if they're jet lagged and that sort of thing, and they haven't had a chance to train. So that might be interesting if that influences the team that Conte picks. But it's just a game that, as you say, you forget about it, and then as soon as you remember it, the stomach starts to turn over, and it's the one game, and I know you don't drink, Brian. It's the one game of the season where the beers don't have any effect whatsoever.
I've been there before, Brad. I know the Champions League final was that way.
Until maybe one, or if you have a good result, maybe one after the game, or one added on to those after the game, then it starts to kick in. But during the game, it's
a nervousness
whatsoever.
out of sheer nerves. But hopefully, Brad, you're going to be more confident this time of year. Certainly.
Oh yeah, look. Let's look at last season. Last season we had Nuno, and we hadn't played well. We'd had the 3 wins, and then we were suddenly losing to Palace 3-0. I think it was after it might have been after the Palace game actually. And we were looking very vulnerable. And I think Skip, who played reasonably well that season, was on the bench. And if you remember, he came on 3-0 down. He came on at half time and made a difference. And we never looked like getting back in the game, but it still ended 3-1. We still effectively result-wise beat them in the second half. So now we've got a world-class coach who he'll know how to play this game. Well, obviously, he's who he is. But so I'm more confident going in this game that we've got the ammunition and the players to do it and the coach to do it. I have a feeling, after watching England and Germany last night, I have a feeling that this game might be very similar because
there's something else that actually we haven't spoken about. How are you feeling with the very big possibility that Forster will be making his debut?
Well, I feel better with him making his debut than Colaccini. Not Colaccini, whatever his name was. Galini. I feel probably. I'm trying to think of the previous second play. Do I feel better with him other than Gazzaniga?
Joe Hart.
Yeah, Joe Hart. Probably out of Joe Hart, Gazzaniga and Collini. I think Forster's probably the best. And the only thing that would worry me, he hasn't had much football. But I do believe he had a good game there last season for Southampton from memory, or one of the
Southampton. He seems to be Arsenal's kryptonite.
He's
Arsenal's kryptonite.
Yeah, so I'm not feeling as bad as I'd rather Lloris in goal, but I'm not feeling as bad as I would had it been Gazzaniga, Collini, or Joe Hart. But again, these are the games where you've got to prove a point. You go out there, if Lloris isn't fit, if it's right, I've got to prove that I'm worthy of this position. So it's
an odd question I kind of have lined up, Brad, and I think we might spend some time on it. So who knows? Might be the last question for you, but maybe you don't have much to say. But I had a lot to say about it with Dave. The way the media, I feel like, has portrayed Arsenal, they seem to be that team that everybody kind of secretly likes, and I think you know what I mean by this. Where every season there's that sort of team that, I don't know, maybe most people are kind of secretly rooting for, kind of have a soft spot for. Burnley's been that team in the past. Maybe Brentford might have been that team sort of last season. You could say that everybody kind of wanted to maybe succeed or at least do well, you could argue. I don't know. Do you agree with me? Maybe Arsenal seems to be this team. If they feel weirdly very liked in the media, a lot of people seem to praise them, and maybe Spurs are kind of seen as unlikable in the media.
I think from our point of view, it always seems that way. I always think that the media are really always against us. But then you see people on Twitter or my other friends who support other teams, and they say, "Oh, they're always against Chelsea, or they're against West Ham, whoever they support." So I think from that sort of view, you're going to have that. But I can see that. I guess the one thing is that Arsenal, and I hate to say this, have played some decent football.
Maybe that's why.
And and that's why if you're not a Chelsea fan, West Ham fan, you're going to like them for that reason, that they play attractive football, whether they win or not. Because if you don't follow us, we don't care whether they win or not. But you'll see, they play good football. It was interesting that the story that came out about Conte and Juventus. I'm not sure if Sky News reported on it, but if they did, it's very interesting that they seem to do that. As soon as Spurs are doing well, then suddenly the stories will come out. I think I saw a story the other day about Kane and Bayern Munich again. It seems to me that as soon as Spurs start doing well, they'll try and throw a spanner in the works by, Conte might go to Juventus or Kane will go to Bayern Munich. So again, but that's a perception from me being a Tottenham fan. So So it's. But yeah, I do get what you mean. I don't know. Maybe.
Do you think they're media darlings, Brian? Do you see where
So,
I'm
do
coming
you
from?
know what?
Because I agree with BB, because I see a lot of people who aren't Arsenal fans who seem to really like Arsenal this year. And maybe what Brad said is right. The type of football they're playing is easy on the eye. People seem to like that sort of thing. That makes them likable. They're a very young team, too. That makes them sort of likable. But I don't know, Brad or Brian, am I getting ahead of myself? Do they feel
No,
like media darlings?
I don't think you are in some way completely, because if you look at it, and I'm just going to go back to Arsene Wenger's tenure, or no, I'll go back to Graham's tenure when they were known as boring Arsenal. And that's what they were. They were as boring as they come. 1-0 to the Arsenal and the offside rule.
Yeah.
Then Arsene Wenger came in and revolutionised British football, period. The diet, the psychology, the science, everything. And I hate to say it, they probably played in Wenger's height, probably the best football in Europe. They were devastating. They were absolutely Henry, who I still think to this day is the greatest player to ever play in the Premiership. He was just explosive. And they were winning everything or competing for everything. Then obviously the back wheels came off, and you got to remember, as much as I hate to say it, Arsenal are a huge club and have won stuff and won Premier Leagues and won First Divisions and are the most winning the FA Cups. So when they went on the decline, they just became a joke. They just became a joke that what the fuck's going on to them? They used to be up here with Graham, up here with Wenger, and now they're just going down, down, down. They did used to play the most exciting brand of football. And then you look at with Arteta, who's would have probably got the sack with any other clubs, like lower clubs or bigger clubs, for the way they've been playing. But they've backed him with the players he wanted, and they have started playing that football again because they've got the players to play it. But like we said earlier, they've only played Manchester United. So right now, they all look at Arsenal and the brand of football they're playing. Arteta was nearly out the door, but look at their good recruitment. Arsenal will go on a run like they normally do around Christmas, where they just chuck it all in. And or won't be at Christmas because of a bloody World Cup, but let's say January, and go, they will, and then they'll be, it's typical Arsenal. It's typical. They'll flip flop back. It's just because right now Arsenal are playing great football. Jesus, they haven't really had a top notch striker since Henry, have they? If we look at it, they haven't really had a top devastating.
Van Persie, baby. Van Persie, baby.
Oh yeah, sorry, Van Persie, Brad. You're right. I apologise. But since Van Persie, it's just been a odd player here, get you up a few goals. Jesus is doing bits for them. And not only is doing bits, the Brazilian flair and samba and skill to his game. So right now, they will be media darlings. And because we're playing, I saw it on TalkSport when they're talking, are Spurs being too defensive? Are Spurs doing this? Are Spurs... They are trying to be negative. But they all say in that, Conte is the better manager. Yeah. Conte knows the game better. Conte knows this better. So they're giving this negativity, but they're singing praises within the negativity. Whereas Arsenal right now is, let's all just fucking kiss their asses and say they're magical. But wait till we're regularly playing games and they're coming through thick and fast.
Right.
And if they lose this North London derby, which they don't normally do at the Emirates, let's see how they react. Do they do what they normally do and mentally go and lose a few? Or do they bounce back and go from strength to strength? So this is right now for me, just because they're back playing that exciting brand of football and doing it in the Arsenal way, so to speak, or how Arsene Wenger had it. But as soon as those defeats come in, they'll flip-flop back again. Look how bad they are. Arteta has to go. It sells stories, doesn't it?
Well, the other thing is that most Spurs fans are annoyed that we haven't won trophy in 30 odd years or whatever it is. And I think most Spurs fans are really honest about how our team plays and how strong we are and what chance we have. But unfortunately, I think the perception outside of being a Spurs fan, the perception is, out of all the big clubs in the league, Newcastle haven't won a trophy since '69, and Tottenham, who in recent years won trophy in 30 odd years, whatever it is. Yeah. I think the perception is that we have this, we've got a right to win stuff because we're so big. And I think that's the perception from outside of Tottenham fan. I've never found a Tottenham fan yet that thinks we deserve to win it because we're so big. Yes, we're a big enough club with the resources we should be doing better. But I don't think any Spurs fan has come up with, we deserve to be there. But I think the perception outside of Spurs is that teams like Spurs and Newcastle, or these big teams that they think they should deserve to win stuff, blah blah blah. So I think that might have something to do with it as well.
Yeah, great answers from both of you, I must say, to be fair. And I really loved it. Really got the chat going. It really got the chat going. I could tell the chat really agrees as well.
Just a quick one on this, Jack. Do you think Arsenal fans under George Graham, when they were winning leagues and won a UEFA Cup, playing in a very, very resolute way, were going, do you know what? I know we're doing all this winning and lifting silverware, but I wish we could play better football. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
They used to, that boring Arsenal, they used to sing it. The Arsenal fans used to sing it.
I mean, look at Chelsea. Chelsea fans have never asked for beautiful football. They've asked for winning football, basically, since the year of 2003. All they've asked for is winning football.
When Arsenal were doing well under George Graham and winning trophies, I did hear Spurs fans saying, at least we play decent football. And I'm thinking,
it flips back and forth. It seems like both teams, yeah.
I mean, if you can win stuff and play decent football at the same time, a la, as you say, the Arsenal team from whenever it was, 2002, or the Man City team of recent years, yeah, great. But unfortunately, it doesn't always work out that way. But, look at Leicester, how they won the title, the number of boring 1-0 wins they had. But hey, they're celebrating the title. They can come to our ground and sing, Premier League champions, you'll never sing that to us. So we can't sing it back to them. So yeah, I want to win. And
we need to get going with maybe results like this, Brad. Hopefully we get that result Saturday. Then we can start maybe chanting some things at them, and perhaps you could be the one to make it up, maybe via a song or something like that.
Maybe. Blue Sofa Songs. I was a little bit concerned that the song I put out on Friday might have been, it was very, very personal. So a little bit reluctant, but I've actually had a really good reaction to it. So that's really pleasing. So the song that's going on this Friday is going to be more of your basic balls out chords and basically singing about having a party, really. So it's going to be sort of back to really basic sort of, it's not going to be any cerebral challenge in the lyrics, put it that way. But
gotcha.
But yeah, I haven't recorded it yet. That's tomorrow if I can actually manage to sing and play at the same time and not wake up the neighbours. So so that's tomorrow. But yeah, thanks everyone that have watched my songs and click like and subscribe. I'm at 91 now. 91. Yeah, it's all down there. 91 subscribers. So it's gradually going up. Gradually going up.
Getting into the 100 club.
Yeah, exactly. Just and as I say, there's a little thing on the right hand. Oh, it never gets right. Yeah, right hand thing on the screen that you click on, and then that allows you to subscribe. You don't even have to watch the whole video. Of course, I want you to, but yeah, and then just click the like, and then that's all done. And if you're really, 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 if you're not desperate, if you're really, really enthusiastic, click the notification bell. See, I haven't said that one at all. So yeah,
but I have to say, I never get that right as well. That's why it's always good to be on the bottom, because then you just need to point up. You can't get that wrong. You can't get that wrong. You can just easily say, right, Brian, Jack. But if you go that way or that, you see, that way. No, that way's Jack. Even though I did it, it's being on the bottom. It's just there you go. Up there.
And thank you also so much, everybody. So much. Brad has said this a few times, but so much of the Harris Army has shown him a lot of love, at least in the comments.
Thanks to everyone that's been so supportive, and people in the comments, you know who you are. It just means the world to me, and it's brilliant to see. And I can point out now, subscribe to these two guys as well.
Love
Jack,
that.
Look at that. Look at that training I gave. Look at that training.
Jack. theirishyid and Tottenham on tour with Brian Daigle. There you go.
Thank you, Brad.
Cheers,
Thank you, brother. Well, pleasure speaking with you as always, Brad. Thanks, Ellie, for getting us kind of started.
I'll be in the chat still, but I normally switch onto my TV and watch the rest of the show in there. So
good man. Good man.
Cheers, guys.
We'll speak to you very soon, Brad. We'll see you very soon.
Yeah.
Catch you, brother.
Good later.
Have a good night, Brad. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Big up, Brad. Everybody, show him some love, and show him some love with that subscription. Almost 9 away, basically right there, everybody, at 100, basically right on the doorstep of 100. Show him some love if you haven't already, and big up to people like Welsh Gal, who've also been putting in comments and liking his songs as well, everybody. But we have a super chat from Franco Martini saying, in 2019, I was there for Spurs 7-2 defeat to Bayern. In 2020, he was there for Spurs 7-2 win over Maccabi Haifa. 2021, he was there for Spurs win over NS Mura. My birthday presents in recent years. Saturday's my next one. I mean, that I must say is a different sort of occasion,
Yeah.
Franco. Different sort of occasion. I mean, Spurs, Bayern, as much as that was probably not a favorable result, or not really a result that you probably like to see, a bit of like a cool, a cool fixture, at least you got to say that you got to see Bayern, and it's nice to be in the Champions League and whatnot. And then Maccabi Haifa, kind of like Enes Mura, I would say, kind of teams that you kind of like to see that sort of result. You want to win 7-2, you want to win 5-1 sort of kind of games. But I don't know. I mean, Brian, North London Derby, this is a whole different vibe that Franco's going into.
Yeah, I have to say one of the things I always say to my parents is thank you for having me in June, because then Spurs cannot ruin my birthday or whatever. It's like it's out of the season. No, I've had England do it and go out of a World Cup or Euros on my birthday, and that's bad enough. But having a North London derby on your birthday, my dad's born in July, and his birthday was the one where we beat them 2-1 in the COVID season, where it started late and we had that, and it was actually on his birthday. And I was like, there's nothing worse I can think of than having a North London derby on my debut, on my birthday. It's got to be the most anxious day. But hopefully, Franco, this one works out and the winning streak continues, just like my lucky shirt will be worn, and the stain will remain. So let's just hope both of these streaks continue.
Absolutely. Big up, Franco. And I hope you get a birthday present, my man. At least a draw, maybe a win for you. But really appreciate you throwing in the support, and really appreciate you always tuning into the channel, Franco. And I wish you the best of luck this weekend. And hopefully, at least, you also just enjoy the weekend, no matter the result. Pick yourself up, Franco. And really do appreciate the support, brother. But we're going to keep moving on, and we're going to go on to our next guest here. Just going to make sure I know who it is first. Yes, we're going on to Mr. P Dubs out in Rhode Island. Big yourself up, P Dubs. Hopefully we're ready to bring you on here, my man.
What's up, boys?
How we doing?
What's up, buddy?
What's happening?
All good. Yourself?
It's a great week. It's a great week.
You know, Are you not? Great week. I'm nervous, P Dubs. I mean, it's kind of a week. I'll be honest. I kind of just want to get over and done with. Like I said to Brian in the beginning of the show, if I could play this right now or tomorrow, I totally would. It feels like all this suspense, all this buildup. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's great for kind of the advertising of the game, but at the same time, it makes me even more nervous. But you confident? I mean, how are you feeling going into it?
Well, again, you know, it's listen. Harry Winks ain't in the team, guys. Harry Winks isn't playing.
Things have turned around.
You know, and again, like I was looking at our team starting against them the last 3 years, and again, Davison Sanchez has played all those games. That boy ain't starting his game. And
hopefully.
And so
hopefully.
You know what? Like hopefully, again, we have what one more international, right? Kuti plays.
Well, that's the thing. If Romero, I don't know if he went over. He has having a problem with his visa. If he played the full game for Argentina, he's one of those guys that don't get back till very, very late.
Yeah.
So that will his injury, his flight, how he's feeling will. But I'm with you with this game. Well, you say that, Peter. Sanchez was in the 3-0 when Romero was ruled out, but that was on our ground. That weren't over there where obviously mentality. I think Romero is leagues above Sanchez in every department, but mentality for sure.
He is. And again, we're gonna need that. We're gonna need that aggressive play at the back. We can't be passive. We can't be bystanders on Saturday. You know, again, it'll be a long day for us if we keep just reacting to everything that Arsenal does. So, we need to be proactive in having a player like Romero in the back line, taking advantage of things, taking guys on, you know, kicking the hell out of Odegaard and all those shit players that they have is going to be important.
Definitely. P-Dubs, I have some, plenty of questions prepared, but this one I guess I haven't given to anybody yet. And it's kind of what are Spurs' maybe strengths and maybe weaknesses going into this one? Like, and then also the same thing with Arsenal's. I mean, you're welcome to touch on either. But it's either you could look at it as how can Spurs take advantage of Arsenal, or maybe what should Spurs be aware of that maybe Arsenal are quite good at? I mean, what are sort of the strengths and weaknesses, do you think, of maybe both sides?
Again, I think we set up perfectly against them. Like, Manchester United showed us that blueprint. I mean, that was going to be obvious, though. Like, we're going to play on the counter. United was going to play on the counter. And you hope that they commit bodies forward and they just leave our runners open. And it's going to be a long day for them if they do that. If they keep playing with the naivety, again, I think Lego Man, I think you called him Jack earlier.
Yeah.
Lego Man. I think he plays with some naivety, or again, like if he calls it confidence, it's dumb because
I agree. He is a bit naive in certain moments, especially I feel like when he makes a decision, maybe in the middle of a game, he can be a bit naive, if you ask me.
Yeah, for sure. And he is they're gonna set up. They'll have 89% of the ball, and we're gonna take at least. We're gonna win 1-0 at least. At least we're going to hold them through. And again, depending on the formation, again, I know you guys were talking earlier about 3-4-3 versus, 3-5-2. Again, the 3-4-3 makes me nervous going into this game, but
yeah,
I think this is what's going to happen. It's just what's going to happen. And, our favorite right wing back, Emerson, we're talking about the weaknesses of Spurs. Like, he just can't, again, like, he might have a great game, because we could be in our half the entire game. So, you know what? Him back there, I think he might be okay.
Definitely.
He might be okay, but at the same time, he'll offer nothing as usual going forward.
Does he turn it on, do you feel like, in these games? Like someone mentioned before, is he someone that perhaps finds a way to, I don't know, become a different player in the big games, or do you make
Jack, that's giving him a lot of credit, Jack.
Someone did, and I'd love to see it as Emerson's biggest defender. I'll take any chance I get to defend the man, but definitely going a bit far.
Me too. Again, I
definitely goes a bit far, though, to say that. I would agree.
I do feel like I think I am an Emerson defender. Like, it's a brand. Like, we wear it, and he's, again, in this game, he's going to be valuable.
A way of life
against Manchester City is going to be valuable. It's like moon boots again, like Dark Sun G and moon boots betting. I mean, those things are just peanut butter and jelly. It's that side again that's going to be picked on the entire game. I think again, Perisic I think will play on the left, and it would just be nice. It would be nice to see Basuma play in a 3, but I agree. I just don't think it'll happen. And I think I spoke the other day with Dave and you about Richarlison. I think Richarlison will start.
Interesting.
Over Kulu. Over Kulu. And again, he's going to get shot card red card. It's going to happen. It's going to happen again, 34th to 43rd minute, guys. You heard it here first. You can bet. Like, I won't take anything away from you guys betting. But yeah, it's gonna happen. He's gonna rattle Xhaka so much in the first 5 to 10 minutes. Like, I think Richarlison will get an early yellow card, but he'll get Xhaka yellow too. And then then it'll just be like Richarlison blowing in Xhaka's ear for the next 15 20 minutes. Right next to him, just blowing.
Lance Stevenson approach. Love that. Me and Brian were agreeing earlier that Richarlison is sort of made for these sort of kind of games. He's somebody that you would just love to have on your team for these sort of games. But Mr. Daigle, maybe any sort of talking points or kind of convo kind of discussions maybe that maybe we haven't discussed, or anything that you want to touch on?
Yes, so Pete, I've just the exact reason I don't want Richarlison starting is only like Pete says. If he gets a yellow card himself, he's got to be careful what he does for the rest of the game, no matter what time it is. So if he gets a yellow card in, let's say, the first 20 minutes, that's 70 minutes where he can't go full on Richarlison for risk of him getting sent off. So not saying that he would, but I mean, I want him to come on where the yellow card, he ain't got nothing, so he can have that one
off the bench.
Yeah, exactly. That's why. I mean, King Hoddle said it when he said our strengths are Antonio Conte, and our attack. That is our strengths, especially going into this game to try and get one over them, because don't get me wrong, Saliba has looked like a man possessed this season,
Yeah, it's been good.
Mhm.
but he hasn't come up against what we can offer him. They came up against Rashford, who's found a bit of form. But that's no Kane, Son, Kulusevski, Richarlison. Our weakness is obvious. It is Emerson Royale. It is, unfortunately. It could be to an extent Eric Dyer, and it could be to a certain extent we don't have a creative midfielder.
Yeah.
But when you flip it on Arsenal's strengths at the moment is with Gabriel Jesus. He's, whether you like him or not, his touch, his control, he's dropping off, he's going around the pitch. Normally, like when they've been playing the last couple of seasons, Spurs have known who the main guy is, and he stays central, and it's like, right, just keep on him. Whereas Jesus will wander all over the place, and I think he will cause us a lot of concerns. And I probably think he'll say, "Oh, do you know what? I know Emerson very well. I'm going to rinse the shit out of him through Brazil." And but their strength is obviously the one thing I will say. Like I said, the one strength they've got is for once. This is when the Emirates and the Library becomes loud.
Yep.
And one thing we need to do to let them know we're there is someone go in and make a crunching tackle, or we have for the first 5 minutes we are peppering their goal and making them nervous. Because if we don't do either, the noise is just going to get louder and louder and louder.
We have the
But
players to do that, though, Brian, right? We have the steel of Basuma. We have the steel of Højbjerg. We could put in a crunching challenge and set the tone, like you said.
That strength they have, Jack, could very quickly turn into a weakness because they'll get on their back. So for once in this, we have to silence them. We have to, because they find their voices at this game. And that's pivotal. That's pivotal. But yeah, everything else P-Dub said was pretty much bang on the money.
Yeah, completely agree there.
But I will say, I'm going to disagree with your first point about Richarlison. I think even if he gets a yellow, I think he's just going to do his thing. And I think, again, like, he doesn't do many stupid tackles up front. Like, he's just, again, like, there's little things. He's going to, again, like, you're not going to get a yellow card for pulling Xhaka's hair. Like, a little bit. Like, just grabbing him. Just doing the little things to piss him off. Again, again, Richarlison, again, if he starts, he's going to get a yellow, I think, for sure. But I just think that there'll be enough there to rattle. Again, Xhaka, we've seen it. He gets rattled easily. Again, and he's been playing, again, like, from what we've seen, Xhaka's been playing very well for them. And again, if we can unsettle Xhaka, I think that's actually a key to the match. I
agree.
Again, all these stupid top gunners have been been having a boner.
Yeah, the same gooners that wanted him out of the club when he threw the armband and literally stormed off the pitch and have said, "Xhaka out every season." Oh, he's useless. Now he's had like 6 great games. Oh, he's the best midfielder in the league. The nonsense. The nonsense.
It's unbelievable. It must be honest, the turnaround he somehow had. But on Granit Xhaka, though, I've heard some rumors that Thomas Partey is a slight doubt maybe going into this game. I believe he even was pulled out of his games for Ghana. I think that's the country he represents, if I'm not mistaken, for Ghana. He was pulled out maybe to rest him for this game. I'm not too sure, but sort of similar to that Lloris situation, actually, maybe what happened to Thomas Partey. If that's the case and he doesn't play in this North London derby, I think that's a huge opportunity for Spurs, because he's their only player that I feel like is that reliable kind of guy in that deep lying position. Because Granit Xhaka, if he was in that deep lying position, I would keep him alive if I were Spurs.
Yeah, I mean, and again, and I don't know what's like going on with the Partey thing with the allegations or whatnot. Like I just boo him every time I see it.
I think that's gone. I think that's passed. Yeah, by the looks of things.
Well, regardless, again, I did see that. I mean, if he misses again, they don't have that El Neni character in the middle either. He's going to be out for another at least a couple more weeks.
I think it would be Lokonga.
They have to put Lokonga in there. I mean, that's honestly, like, that's another chance for, again, that's another Richarlison target. Again, I would just sit Richarlison right on the Lokonga, again, experienced player. And again, I think it might be his first North London derby too for Lokonga as well. Like,
would you see that though? Is like when I see that if Thomas Partey isn't available, I feel like that's when Arsenal do play their best. From what I've seen of them, is that they seem to kind of win and lose with him being in that team. He seems to be able to be the best player that allows them to play that sort of pleasing on the eye kind of football. And if he isn't there, they can be really got at and they can be really taken advantage of, I think.
Absolutely.
So if he is going to miss it, I think that's a huge win for Spurs. In fact, I think that'd be more of a win for Spurs or more of a plus for Spurs, even if Lloris were to miss it. I think that'd be more of a plus for us if Thomas Partey were gone.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Fraser's been brought in. I think he could start at a lot of clubs right now still too. Like, again, I'm sure that Leicester would love to have Fraser Foster. I'd like to, Leicester would probably like to have at least one of Fraser Foster's arms in goal, right? Even in his whole body, than Ward, who was awful. But yeah, I think, again, like...
The thing as well, from what I've heard, Odegaard is a doubt. Kieran Tierney got injured for Scotland. They have got. I don't know how far along the line and if they're going to play, but they have got a couple of injuries.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think their team is shit. They have a shit team. We're better than they are. Like, the injuries. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't want to hear the excuses though from them. And again, I know we are. Like, oh guys, Partey was out. Sorry. Oh, Tierney. Like, if we win, it's just gonna be it's going to be a lot of that whining, all of that, that Lego man speak that just doesn't, it doesn't compute with me, guys. It just doesn't compute. There's a lot of excuses going to be banded around when we turn them over on Saturday.
Love that.
I mean, again, like we do well on the counter, and again, I think that's what's going to happen, guys. Like, we're gonna get at least probably 3 or 4 chances, like we do every game in normal games, and again, as long as we're clinical, like, again, we could score 2 or 3. I think if they keep playing the way they play, and we're capable, and if we play to the potential that we're capable of, we could just demolish them. Which I don't think will happen. Like, it will not. I don't not think it'll happen. But again, I'd be happy with the 1-0. Again, even if we draw, again, listen, if we draw again 0-0, we don't let them score. Especially in the first half, we don't let them score. It's they're gonna be throwing beer bottles on the pitch, guys.
Yes,
certainly hope so. But maybe kind of some other talking points here. We spoke about this kind of earlier, but do you feel like they're kind of media darlings in your eyes? I don't know how much you maybe pay attention to the UK media and whatnot, P-Dubs, but do you feel like Arsenal are seen as the likable team, whereas Spurs have been portrayed as maybe the unlikable team?
I'm a big YouTube pod guy. Like, I just watch a lot of YouTube. Whenever I'm at the gym or again, I do a lot of traveling in the morning, so I listen to a whole bunch of things in the morning. But it's a lot of, again, I will say a lot. It seems like a lot of the people have, like, even Arsenal fans, like, I've seen some level-headedness, which is weird. Like, I've seen some level-headedness. Again, I've seen some crazy, ridiculous takes. But, again, like, people saying, like, Arsenal finishing second is, I think it's a little bit laughable because their depth is basically, honestly, like, it's a little bit better than ours was last year, their depth, I would say. It was a little bit better than ours. And so we were playing, we had 14 players, 13 even last year was what Conte said. And so for us, like, we added a whole bunch of players that can play. And again, we didn't have Skip, we didn't have Tanganga. All these guys are hurt. And again, I'd still love, and I know you guys were talking about Spence earlier. Like, again, not obviously in this game, but after the World Cup, when the League Cup games and the FA Cup games come on, I better see Spence starting. I better see him starting.
In the North London Derby?
No, not that. Say after the World Cup.
Yeah.
After the World Cup, once those cup games, League Cup, they start happening.
Definitely.
Like, he better be starting all those games. Like, he better be starting all those games again. Like, I could even see Doherty come in tomorrow too. like if we're losing at the half or something late in the game again, like Doherty on, or even again, Brian, as you were saying earlier, I think you wanted Kulu sexy at the right wing back position.
If we play 3,
not a bad shout either. I definitely wouldn't be opposed to it. Because again, I thought he did well when he was our best player when he came on. Was that against Sporting? He was a right wing back. Yeah, Marseille. Yeah, he was our best player. So it's definitely one of those that I would like to see more of. Yeah. I would like to see Spence. I'd like to see Doherty play. You know, again, the Emerson badge, like I've got it, like I've got that one. But you know, I want the other guys also again, like Doherty again had that big injury. I want to see him in the team. If it's tomorrow, great. If it's not tomorrow, okay. We gotta get him in before the World Cup for sure.
Absolutely. Well, P-Dubs, appreciate this conversation, my man, and we're getting you ready for the North London Derby week. Looks like it's nice and sunny and over Rhode Island wide. It looks like
I'm ready.
Rhode Island's finest. As you said, that looks gorgeous, my man.
It is the complete opposite in Toronto. The complete opposite to what you're doing right now.
He's in an oasis.
Brian, sorry, before I go, and Jack, you too. Like, I don't know how much weight you're placing on these internationals, and Brian, are you more of a Canadian international team fan or England?
Oh no, listen. Even when I lived in Israel, I am an Englishman living in. Don't get me wrong. Will I be rooting for Canada in the World Cup? Hell yeah. But when my wife said to me, if England get Canada in their group, who are you supporting? I looked at her as like, is that even a question? Is that even a question? If it was ice hockey, I'm playing my Canadian card all day long. I'm playing my Canadian card all day long. I'm eligible for becoming a citizen now. I've got my PR, but I've been here long enough now to get my Canadian passport and whatever. So once I've got that, when it comes to ice hockey and stuff, I'm going Canada. But listen, I when it comes to football, England against anyone, there is no team I will ever go against with England ever.
And Jack, we look crap. The Americans, we look. I don't know if you watched any of it at all. We look crap.
I haven't paid much attention to him, mostly because I'm probably a pretty bad U.S. Men's national team fan. Not really a good one, but.
All right, boys. Thanks a lot.
I don't know. I don't put a lot of pressure on them, mostly because I don't think we are very good to begin with. P-Dub, so maybe I don't put very much pressure on them. But the pressure, where the pressure needs to lie, is going to be on the boys this weekend, though. You know, our Tottenham Hotspur, Mr. P-Dub. So hopefully we can get a result there. Cheers. And you can be able to, cheers on the porch and be able to look out at that beautiful view come Saturday. Big yourself up, my man. Appreciate the conversation.
Enjoy.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on.
Big up, man. Everyone, show P-Dub some love. Everybody in the chat. Great, man. Love talking to him. He's become a big regular of the channel as well. If you haven't already been able to tell by now, Brian is my co-host. He is filling in tonight, putting in an absolute fine shift with me. And you need to show him some love as well. Been putting in the link to his channel as well, to Tottenham on Tour. So everybody, if you haven't already, do click that link and hit the big red subscribe. Maybe I just lost him for a second by the looks of things. No big deal, though. We're giving him the plug anyways. Funny enough. But we're going to go on to our next guest. Yes, big up Mr. Daigle. Absolutely, says Pierogi. We're going to go into our next guest, the one and only KPV.
Hello.
Kyle Sonaldo, Vineyard. No Perisic, no Kulusevski. We've switched to Sonaldo this time.
Yeah, switched to Sonaldo. Got on the back of my shirt. After that hat trick against Leicester, 2 stunning goals. I've apparently been nominated for goal of the month for September.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think
almost all his goals were, except for the third, maybe were candidates. You could say, right, Kyle? I mean, the second one was almost just as good as the first.
Yeah, I probably have to say his first one was better because he had Højbjerg next to him, but he said, you know what? No, I want to score a hat-trick and shush the critic. Let me get my first goal. So, got him on the back of my shirt, got that for my birthday. So, the man is on form. He's on fire. So, Arsenal just not ready for him. Let him take free kicks, not Harry Kane, because Kane isn't good. Dyer can take him, but got to let Ronaldo take him.
Absolutely, man. Why is it that Ronaldo isn't allowed to take him? Is it because Kane is jealous that he would score one right away? Is it? Why is it? Is it? It seems to be almost like a political kind of
Yeah.
thing with Sonny and Kane and the free kick situation. It's almost like no one's allowed to take Kane off free kicks, Kyle. It's like something in his contract or something. Like he's supposed to take every free kick. I don't get it.
I don't get it. Yeah, maybe it's because of that, but. Yeah, let Son take him because he's been scoring them for South Korea and no goalkeeper's been able to stop him. So, who? KSV, that's not my name.
Kyle Sonaldo. You went with Kyle Sonaldo this time,
KSV,
though.
yeah. I think Kane's just jealous of him. But, yeah, because, there he is.
There he is.
It's me, it's KPV.
What's up?
Love child of Hoiberg and Kulusevski. I mean, that's the greatest love child you could probably ever create, King Huddle. I mean, that's the highest of compliments. I think even Ellie would love to see a love child of that sort. It's KSV tonight, though. So yes.
Let Son take him. I could score free kicks in a derby. I could score more.
Do you agree with that, Brian? I feel like it's in the contract of Harry Kane or something that he's supposed to take every free kick. There's no logical explanation anymore that he takes every free kick other than maybe he has some contract that forces him to do it or allows him to do it, or maybe he has dirt on all the rest of his teammates. I'm not really sure what it is.
You know what? If it is contractual, it just shows how crap his agent is, because he'll put a contract for him to take free kicks, but won't put a release fee in for him, because that was more important. Listen, there has to be some reason. For one moment, I was thinking, do you know what? Is it because he wants to get his record for Jimmy Greaves and get it over and done with? But then you look at it, and surely even Harry Kane can look and say, listen, I can't take a free kick to save my life. And when I do, I have to pray for a deflection to hope it goes in. He's had the odd one that made, like, I remember one where he hit the bar against Manchester City at the Etihad. But there comes a point now where, with this set, I can't see Antonio Conte saying, "Yep, you have to take every single free." I just can't see it. And as wonderful as Gianni Vio is doing, if I was that set piece coach, the first thing I would be saying is, Harry Kane, you ain't touching a free kick, or even if you are, you're not taking all of them, because it's a pointless exercise. You might as well just give the goalkeeper a goal kick. I say this on streams. When I was back in London, when I was with Danny Kiriakou in the stadium, every time we went to take a free kick, me and Danny started singing, "It's hitting the wall, it's hitting the wall, Harry Kane, it's hitting the wall." And it did 9 times out of 10. It's ridiculous. If a player's shit at something and he's not improving, it's not like he's training hard and hard and hard. And then you see some do it for career, then you see some do it in training. It's like, give this guy a chance. Let him take 1 or 2, mix it up.
We need every chance of winning against the Gooners as well. Yep. And if it comes to a free kick situation and Kane stands over that free kick, I mean, we're doomed. Let's be honest.
So this is a question that Brian Ireland said to me when I was discussing with Brian Ireland before we did the Late Late Show last Friday. And he said, if Harry Kane steps up to take the first free kick against Arsenal, I'm going to be pissed. And I said, do you know what? I won't be as pissed. What I will be pissed is if in the 90th minute, if we're drawing or losing, and we get a free kick and Harry Kane takes it, I'll be more pissed off with that free kick than the first one. Because at least there's time to say, right, the next one's some whatever. There's got to be a time where someone at the club says, hey, Harry, whatever it is we've got on you or you've got on us for taking dead balls, you're not doing it anymore.
I know what you mean. Kyle, NLD, North London Derby, my man. Do you feel more confident this year than maybe in previous years, not coming away from home? Because last year under Nuno, let's be honest, like we weren't going into that one with a ton of confidence. Do you feel like this year you're more confident, KPV?
Yeah.
Or KSV?
Yeah, I think I'm more confident than I was last season under Nuno. But under Nuno we weren't good. We lost 4 London derbies. Like I think that was the first time we lost 4 London derbies. That was the
You're right.
first time. I don't know
You're
when
right.
we won 4. Last time we won 4, I don't know. But this time, I think we've only won 1. That was against
I think we
Fulham.
actually just won 4 London derbies thanks to Antonio Conte. You actually righted that wrong from Nuno, KPV. I think winning against Fulham might have been the 4th London derby in a row that I believe we've won. So at
Yeah,
least
this-
No,
Antonio Conte
no, we drew against Chelsea, so maybe the 4th undefeated.
undefeated. Thank you, Brian. You're probably
Yeah,
right there.
look, like, yeah, 4th. But, yeah, like, I think, yeah, Brentford is like a London derby, my carer said. But this one, I'm more confident because I want a 3-5-2, not a
Mhm.
3-4-3, because
Why
a
is that?
3-5-2, that way we can beat them on their own perch this Saturday. Like, yeah, this
Do
is
you
the
want
big
Basuma to come in then?
Huh?
Do you want Basuma to be that man to help Højbjerg and Bentancur?
Yeah, because Basuma has, I think, laughed at them when they failed to qualify for Champions League in 2019, and Arsenal went 1-0 up, but they conceded the penalty, and Basuma was laughing at them. So already a Spurs legend for that, Basuma. So, or Bossuma, as David calls him, Bossuma.
Yeah, definitely.
Bossuma.
He's
So
going to be Basuma
yeah,
Saturday,
it's going to be
certainly.
the Bulls, and I think we found a new Moussa Dembele. But let's be honest, nobody could take the ball off him when we had him. The guy was just unstoppable.
Be nice to have him for this
It
North
would be
London
nice
derby.
if
tell you
we
that.
had him. But prediction-wise, I want 3-2 Tottenham because that was the last time we won that by that scoreline. They went 2-0 up. Then Harry Redknapp brings on Defoe, and yeah, brilliant performance then. So yeah, let's do it. 3-2, goal scorers, got to be Kane and Son, and Richarlison coming on. He scores against them, but why not? Kulu maybe, but has to be Kane and Son. Yeah, because their record in this game is brilliant. But if we get a free kick in the 90th minute before, I don't know how many minutes will be added, it's not Kane, because if I was the set piece coach, I was saying, Harry, you're not taking a free kick. Let Son do it, because it's not going to be you, kid, because you're shit. So it's got to be Ronaldo.
It's got
The
to
man
be
is on
Sonaldo.
form. No one, Arsenal, not ready to face him. Come Saturday, it's my dad's birthday. He doesn't like football, so but I just want us to beat them because
Well, he'll want a happy Kyle on his birthday. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that, and he'll want a happy KPV.
This is the Pat Jennings derby, just so everyone knows. This is the Pat Jennings derby because he played for both these clubs. Adebayor as well. Yeah, players have played for both these clubs. So this is going to be probably the biggest game because you're looking for your Arsenal fixtures and you want to know when you're playing Arsenal. Like Lady King said it back in May on the Twitter space. I know we're probably going to do that before the game on Saturday, so they'll probably be doing it on Friday, Tottenham, and Lady King's going to be doing it. So make sure everyone tune in. And Friday, I will see you again, Brian.
You will on the Late Late Show, which is going to be predominantly filth bashing for about 3 hours. So yeah, it'll be a good show, my man. It'll be a good show. But we realised, obviously, I mean, I've got to get up at 5:30 in the morning to get up, ready to do the pump up at 6. And during that time, I've got to get to the Scotland Yard. So I've got a very, I don't know if I pull an all-nighter from once the Late Late Show finishes or I try and get a couple of hours kip. But yeah, it's a very early start for me.
That sounds brutal.
Yeah, so I'll be in the pub watching it with the Spurs fans.
Come on.
Everyone, make sure you tune in because it's on BT Sport for the first time since, 2019? The last time we had this was when we drew 1-1 on Pochettino's birthday and Toby Alderweireld. So I know Toby's going to be watching this and Teddy Sheringham because he hates Arsenal. He said there would be no money tempting him to play for them. So, Teddy, I know you're watching, my man. Tune in. And, yeah, like, I want to win this game so badly. So, this is going to be brilliant. 3-2, Kane, Son, and
Love that prediction, Kyle.
Hulu. So
3-2.
out goes to who, I don't mind who it is, but 3-2 anyway. So
Come on,
Kyle.
Kyle.
Also, one more thing. I put a bet on the Manchester derby, City to win, Haaland to score first. I know people want to draw, but obviously I put a bet on City to win, Haaland to score first, and we'll win, we'll go top. But if they win on Sunday, they'll go top. But we'll be second if we win and they win on Sunday.
It's all about taking care of the Gooners first, Kyle.
Yeah.
We'll worry about those Manchester bunch the next time. Big up, Kyle. Thank you for coming on, brother. And come on, you Spurs.
Out. Ben did.
Don't say that. Simba's right here. He's run away now. Run away now. You said who let the dogs out?
Oh, Ben.
Kyle, though, just quickly, it's going to be important who lets out the dogs this weekend with the North London derby. Do you trust Ben to do it? Do you trust Ben to do it?
Yeah, I trust Ben to do it because, Conte's going to release the hound and he's going to show who the real big dogs are. So, David, hopefully you listened to that just now, my man. And I will see you all on Saturday.
Come on. Get in, Kyle. Love that. We'll see you Saturday.
Come on, you Spurs.
Brother.
And Levy out.
Big up, Kyle.
Look at that. I said that without moving my lips.
What a legend he is. What a legend he is. Show KPV some love in the chat, everybody. Oh, what a send-off as well. All the right things from KPV. What a legend. What a role model for the fan shows. We have my very own mother who's grabbed a membership of the channel, really shown that the support can come from anybody, and it's come from the own mother this time, Mrs. Margaret Konecki. Really appreciate it. She grabbed the flat cap. So anybody can become a flat cap member, as you can tell. Even family members are part of the flat cap army. Really appreciate it. And she's clearly tuning in as well by the looks of things. Always watching. Big up Graham as well in the chat. Just wanted to say hello to Graham. Always have to say hello to the big man. Big up.
He's
Graham.
a superstar. He's a brilliant guy. Honestly, love that man to pieces.
He's very, very kind to me as well. And everybody showed Graham some love. Good to see you in the chat and really appreciate you putting in a comment as well, Graham. But anybody as well, feel free to hit that link to come on. It looks like Mark right now might be the last guest of the evening. So anybody that does have that link in their community section for all the fan show members, do make sure to come on because Mark could end up being the last guest of the evening. And then we'll have the next fan show, of course, on Friday. Plenty of content, of course, coming out this week, this North London derby. Feel free everybody to smash that like button while you're in here. Keep getting those comments in. Feel free to throw it in as a super chat as well if you want to ask the guest, or if you want to ask either Brian or I anything to kind of get your thoughts ahead of this North London derby. But we'll get going. We'll get into Mark News comments. Good to see you, Mark.
Okay. Boys, hi. How you doing? How's things?
All good. It's a pleasure to finally actually speak with you.
Cheers, mate. You too as well, Brian.
Cheers, brother.
Really good to see you, mate. Let's go. Boys.
So many things to talk about, Mark. Do you want to get started, or should I get you started maybe with a certain topic?
Well, I'll tell you what. If I just start in terms, let's say, with one big thing. As I'm sure we all watched the England-Italy game. The players were down, the team was down, but everything turned on Monday. Monday night, we played the Germans, huge big rivalry. But the biggest thing for me, if you watch on slow-mo, when Harry scored his pen, his celebration afterwards, oh my God, he was so fired up. I mean, as I'm sure you always see, he celebrates. There's a thing he does with his hand. He joes down, he pushes his hand down, he celebrates, but he does this thing in slow motion, and you see it meant so much to him. And my feeling is he is on fire, and my feeling is with Harry. So I suppose, like I'm feeling. So feeling with Harry, if Harry was like that on Monday, oh my God, what will he be like on Saturday?
Yeah, I think it showed that he probably have even more passion on Saturday, I'd imagine, Mark. Especially, hopefully, we get a nice little penalty like we did. We got in the home derby. That'd be nice to get that away from home. But funny enough, though, Mark. Anthony Taylor, we haven't spoken about this, is going to be the referee for this one. I believe he was the referee for our Chelsea game. He let Romero get away with a certain hair tug.
Watch out for the hair, boys. Watch out for the hair.
You got the hair pre-done. Yeah, there you go. But he let the game kind of flow. If I recall, Anthony Taylor, is a very physical game that he kind of let the boys play, as maybe some people would say. Do you feel like that could happen again? Is he going to maybe blow a lot of things up after what happened with Chelsea? How do you see this North London derby going? Because if I were me, or if I don't know, I want this to be a physical game, because I think if it were a physical game, we could end up winning this, because we have that steel of kind of that midfield and whatnot. But if he were to blow the whistle a lot, I don't know, we could actually maybe have some trouble.
Then we'll say it's two. 100%, Jack. As I think, especially as you say, we've got the steel. We can boss them in the midfield, but I think the key thing as well, we don't lose it. We don't lose our rag. And the Arsenal players, the Woolwich players, you saw them in the London Dart, you saw them in the NLD. They completely lost it. It was the guy holding. He was all over the shop. And I think bearing in mind the Woolwich players, they were fired up. They're obviously fired up for the away game, the home game in front of their own fans. Whether it's either going to be a plus them, but I think the other thing is also say with the Woolwich players, they'll be under pressure. They'll be under pressure from our players and from their fans. And I think as regards the Woolwich players, I think my feeling is they can't take the pressure.
Definitely. I know what you mean. Going into this one, Mark, though, do you feel like you're more confident than maybe previous seasons with kind of this North London derby? Is there maybe more of a reason that Spurs fans could be optimistic that we could get a result? Or is it, I don't know, is it just as impossible as it always has been? Because it does feel sometimes like it's a very difficult result to get. In fact, maybe the hardest one to get, because we did get a result even at Anfield most recently, but feels like getting a result at the Emirates it's a different story.
Yeah, so it's true. So it's always been in terms that say the tough derby game. It's always going to be either the toughest game of the season or one of the toughest games. But if you look at our form in the previous derbies against Chelsea, that was a voodoo. We never thought we'd get there, and to get there with a draw, we got it. And against West Ham, admittedly, as regards West Ham, we only got the draw. But bearing in mind, in terms of the chances they had in the last few minutes of the game, to get there, to get away from the game with a draw, really wasn't bad. So if we can do that, and my feeling is the players now, they're starting to pick up form. Performances, I think, but as I think we've always said, performances were very, very slow. They were weak. Beginning of the season. Now they're just starting to hit form at the right time. Sonny is hitting form. Harry's hitting form. Richie's just always on fire. And I think if you see Kulu's interview on some of the channels with his let's say how he's been bigging up Conte, absolutely massive.
Absolutely massive. And I must say, Mark, too, I'm loving what you're having to say, but the stylish flat cap to go along with this beautiful rhetoric is certainly adding to it. Brian, maybe anything that, I don't know, that you wanted to talk about, maybe any kind of conversation points maybe we haven't hit tonight, Mr. Daigle, that's been on your mind?
The Marcus said, and that you said with Anthony Taylor, first of all, Harry Kane, where we sometimes always the question mark is, does he turn up in finals or does he do that? There's no question mark about what he does in North London derbies or London derbies, period. But North London derbies, there is no doubt, even if Harry Kane had been on a woeful run of form, Arsenal come about, bang, he's switched on. He is there's no doubt that. The one thing, and I think Wisdom Wolf, I think his name is, who's a great supporter of all the channels, was saying with Anthony Taylor, what you've got to remember now is he can go into this game thinking about that Romero incident, and he could have or he even said after the Chelsea game, I should have sent him off. And you look at players back or referees back in the day before
That's
VAR.
what worries me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. You got to remember, before VAR, there were certain players where they didn't give penalties to because they have such a bad reputation for diving. They're like, oh, he's gone down. It's probably a dive. If I'm not 100% sure. But now, obviously, he may let the game flow, but he knows now that he should have gone to VAR for Romero. But don't get me wrong, I think he refereed that game very well for us. And he saved us because Romero should have been off the pitch.
Will he do it again is the question. Will
If
there
that
be a bit of
incident comes
bias?
again, if Romero does something in the box or something and he didn't see it, he's going to have in his head, you know what, last time he did this, I didn't go check it. And then obviously that happened and I was found that wrong. Now he has the insurance policy of being able to wander over to VAR. So I think that was, don't get me wrong, what you said about the physicality of it and the way he let the game flow, Anthony Taylor is one of the best for them.
But I want him to do that again, Brian, because then that way I think we have a great chance of beating Arsenal. But if he does the opposite of what he did against Chelsea, that would hurt us. I think.
Yeah, but I don't think he'll do that for everyone. I think it'll be in the moments. But if Romero does something silly,
right,
he may say, "Right, I'm using VAR." I really think he may say because I think, but going away, like I said, I mean, we're all talking about this. I mean, it's the biggest question. I think going into this game, the biggest question mark is: does he play 3 in midfield from the start, or does he play 2 in the midfield from the start? Now, if we had to do a poll with not just YouTube, but all the fans across this great land, I think there'd be an overwhelming percentage to say, let's go 3 in the middle. But I don't think he's going to do it. I think he'll want to have that in his locker to change it up rather than start it. And the only problem I have with this game is if you look with what happened with Nuno and what sometimes happens when we go there, is we make the change too late. And then let's say Arsenal score a couple of early goals or in the first half we haven't changed. Is doing it in the second half going to be enough to get the win or bring it back? It's very, very hard to see. Where I think a lot. Put it this way: if we start with a 2, I'm like, oh, I wish he'd started with a 3, but Conte knows it. Hopefully, we can do something. But if he starts with a 3, I'm going to be like, this is a win. We're winning this, and I will be uber confident, thinking this is done. And I think so much hinges on that. Between around the Spurs community of people thinking, will he go for a 3 or will he go for a 2? And that's the biggest question mark for me. It's not even selection, it's formation, which is the biggest talking point for us going into this game.
Definitely. Great talking points there, Brian. What do you think, Mark? Is the 3 basically essential to win this game? Do you think that's basically Spurs' only chance, if not best chance, to maybe get a result here is to go with that 3-5-2, or do you maybe think it's not as important, maybe the formation or shape going into this game?
Well, it's going to be tight. It's going to be close. I think as regards the setup, I think the key thing is, I think as Brian said, whatever he plays, as long as Conte watches the game and he changes up, if the formation is working, keep it. But if the formation he's choosing isn't working, as long as he's able, as long as he's able to change the formation, change the shape, throw something unexpected in the mix. I think that. I think people said also as well. Will he play Kulu right wing back? And I thought
Brian wanted that. He wants to see Kulusevski play as a right wing back. Would you maybe do Perisic as the other wing back, or would you do Sessegnon? How would you think about it? Maybe if you would have put Kulusevski as one wing back.
I think very much. I think very much in terms of the game. Start very much with the big players, the experienced players. Start with Kulu. Start with Perisic. But the last 15 to 20 minutes, the game's going to be played at 100 miles an hour. They're going to be shattered. But the last 15 to 20 minutes, bring on some of the youngsters. I don't know if you guys saw this. In the under 21, they said Skip had a massive game. In the under 21, Skip played well, Cess played well, Spence played well. So we can, and there was a say where there was a say in terms of, let's say, with Conte, does he trust Spence yet? Is it too early? But hopefully, we just, let's say, the last 15 to 20 minutes, whatever pace, or say, how should I put it, whatever the players say, if they do or don't want to come off. Because I can also see in terms of the players, it's not easy. It can't be easy to take a player off when they so want to win it in the derby. But for those last 15 minutes, to bring on some really fresh legs and some fast legs. And someone say like Skip, like Cess, like Spencer, who brings on 2, brings on 3, use them. Just use them, mate.
Yeah, definitely. And he's going to need his substitutes again. And I don't know. A lot of people have been speculating, Brian, that Conte will go with the 3-4-3 and then maybe switch to the 3-5-2 like he always has. If you ask me, I wish it were the other way around. I wish it were the 3-5-2 maybe to begin with, get that sort of solidity. Let's say things do in fact go wrong. Maybe we are maybe a goal down. Then he can switch to a 3-4-3 in order to sort of get a result. It just feels like 3-5-2 is maybe the best one to start with, and then maybe 3-4-3 you could switch to.
Well, if you look at it, Jack, the Liverpool game, which was a 2-2 thriller, was an absolute thriller. That was a 3-5-2, and that was with Ndombele and Dele starting. And look how effective we were in that game, and we know what them two bring to us. Yeah. I honestly think 3-5-2 is the way forward permanently. And then bend into a 3-4-3.
Not even just for this game.
No, and then bend into a 3-4-3 when there are teams that we need to go hell for leather. This game, like I said in the beginning, this don't play the occasion, play the match. And it's not just a case of we need 3 in there. We listen, over loads of different managers that have played loads of different football, Arsenal play 3 in midfield and absolutely swarmed over us like bees. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. They play 3 in the midfield. They get an extra midfielder. They win the second balls. They advance. They go ahead. So say, you know what? You want to do that. This time we're going to match you up. And I don't care what midfield formation they choose. It won't be as good as Basuma, Bentancur and Højbjerg on current form, in class, in everything. And yes, it does mean you sacrifice one striker up top. But Kane and Son up top, even if Son, and we know all the talk about Sonny in the past, it wouldn't matter how bad a form he was in or how bad a form Kane is in. When you're playing 2 up front for Tottenham, there is no better combination, no matter what, than Kane and Son. And their goals against this club, their goals, but in this fixture, back it up as well. So it's all well and good playing 2 in midfield and hoping it gets to our 3. But if we get absolutely overrun and it's all one-way traffic, having that 3 there cuts that out. We've got to do it. We've got to do it. We have to marry Arsenal up. And then, if, like you said, if we're winning convincingly or we want to get that extra attacker, let's say we're 1-0 up and we want to push for it, then you've got the option to go to a 3-4-3 and bring on Richarlison to wind them up and get them a man down and whatever. But I think we have to just shut them up and say, you're not overrunning this midfield. You are not getting the better of us there.
Not this time. Yeah,
exactly. Like we've learned from our lesson. It's only taken 15 occasions, but we finally, the penny's dropped. I honestly think this is the biggest midfield battle to go into this. And it's not a case of, it means we're going to have to be more pragmatic. It's like, we're doing this to stop them. We have to nullify the strength they've had over us. And listen, it doesn't matter what formation they play up front. Like I said, with the midfield 3, none of their forwards go, big up, Danny. We need to talk, brother. We need to talk big time. Whatever strike partnership they put up there, it's not better than Son and Kane.
Yeah.
And to get the ball up to Son and Kane, we have to cut off their midfield. And the only way we can do that is 3.
Yeah, I think it's the only way. So by that answer, I don't know, Mark, I kind of am nodding my head the whole time to Brian Daigle there. Feels like maybe I'll be extreme here just to be extreme. The real way of us getting a result out of this, or the most foreseeable way of us getting a result here, has to be the 3-5-2 maybe deployed in some way or another. It's going to be hard to imagine us getting a result if we were to go with that 3-4-3. I don't know, but it could be a surprise, I guess. But yeah, the 3-5-2 seems to be the best way of getting result. Kind of last question here, sort of, Mark. We were talking about earlier, kind of Arsenal's maybe seen as the media darlings of this season. Would you agree with that? Maybe are they kind of likable compared to maybe seasons past? They seem to be the team that everybody, I don't know, like are secretly rooting for, even if they're not Arsenal fans. They seem to be given a lot of love in the press and a lot of kind of attention, and people seem to praise the style of football. They praise the manager. They praise the young players. Do you think they're a bit of a media darling at this moment in time, whereas Spurs are a bit sort of seen as unlikable?
Well, it's true. I mean, there has been some. Because I'm not sure. I'm not sure as regards with the Woolwich. Maybe I'm not sure in terms of the Woolwich. Maybe people see them as, let's say, as genuine contenders to City. That may be maybe how they see them. But I think people have said they've only had one big game against United, and they got beat.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they're big players. They're big players. They've had big results. But against small teams. It's only the only time they'll actually be tested when they play the big teams, and the big teams isn't when they play City; it's when they play us. This is a bit. So it's a big game for us. It's a big game for them, but it is a big game.
Absolutely, Mark. Wow, great answer there.
We will be testing them.
Great answer. We certainly will be, and we saw them fold to Man United. Hopefully, they'll fold to us as well. Mark, great convo as always, my man. Any kind of final talk points or anything that you maybe want to get off your chest before we let you go and move on to the lovely Ben Kaufman? But maybe anything that you wanted to say that maybe I didn't get to ask you, Mark?
I think as regards the game, it's actually come. The game has actually come at exactly the right time for us. We started slow, but we're building up. We're on a curve. We're starting to move up. I think also as well. Each of the players, the big players, they're coming back from their national teams. There's been big wins, there's been big games, but I think as regards the players, they'll be so excited to come back, see the stadium, see Conte, see the fans, see the squad. It's been a little bit, as a lot of people have said, it's the friendly games have been a bit disjointed. It's been an interruption. They will be so pleased to come back to Tottenham, and I think when they see that and they see who's the game against, oh my God, it's the derby. They will just absolutely be flying. They will be firing. So I think the first 5 or 10 minutes, I'd love to see if we quieten them down and nick a goal. But then, so I think realistically, it's going to be a tight game. I think we've said before. I think could well be 2-2 last 10-15 minutes. But I reckon 3-2. If I can 3-2, we can take them.
Love that, Mark. Great answer, my man. And honestly, loving the optimism that you've given us going into this game. And hopefully we get a good result for you come the weekend. But thank you for coming on tonight, Mark. Thanks for keeping Brian and I company. Thank you for, now it's good to have another regular. It's good to have a regular back on for the fan shows. Part of the crew now, Mark, you are.
Cheers, guys. Right. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Spurs. Go on, my son. Go on,
Mark.
Go on.
Appreciate you coming on. Come on. Love that. Absolutely.
Have
love
a good
that.
one, Mark, mate.
Yeah.
Everybody show him some love in the chat. We'll be seeing you, Mark. Show him some love. What a great man. He's become regular, especially ever since Rob Wallace and Truth Sets Free, I believe, have kind of helped him out and getting that membership as well. So everybody do take advantage of that membership. If you do have it, feel free to come on. The link is still out there. Hit that like button while you're in here as well. Keep getting your comments in, and feel free to throw in a super chat if you do want to ask the guest or myself or Brian anything about this upcoming week and this upcoming North London Derby. But we're going into the next guest here, a very good guest to be moving on to, and it is going to be the one and only Kaufman, Mr. Ben Kaufman, the one and only coffee expert of the Harris Army and of the Spurs community. Big up, Mr. Ben. Good to see you. I can't do Ben. I can't do what did I forgot what I used to do, Brian, because you were there for one of it. I don't do David's if you smell, but I did like something else. I forget.
You
what
do
I did.
like a lighter singing sound. You do like, if you smell.
If you smell. That's right.
the one.
Yeah, you went
Thank
operatic.
you. Yeah. There we go. All right.
You went
Now I
that,
gave you
mate.
the introduction you needed, Mr. Benkoff. We need to get that out of the way.
Yeah.
But good to have you. Good to see you.
Great to be back as always. Finally found some time to jump on. So big up everyone in the chat. Big up, big up, big up. How is
Well,
everyone
I don't need to tell you what to do. I mean, take us away, unless you want me to give you the first question or the first talking point. But what do you want to talk about?
What are we talking about? There's a football match this weekend, isn't there? Who are we playing? Is there a football match?
Yeah, just a small one. Just your everyday. No,
It's a bit of a weird one to
nothing.
come off of after an international break. Normally, it would be Leicester that we would play after an international break, and it would be Arsenal that we would play before the international break. I would say it's usually the other way around, Ben.
Yeah, it's a good time to play them because they're on cloud 9. They should be on cloud 9. The top of the league, they're playing some great football. I have no idea how this game is going to go. I have absolutely no idea because it all depends on the team selection. Me and Brian have had, we haven't talked about this game in specifics really, but it's just like there's so much hanging on this game. This is a banana skip. This is like, I think it's probably the real first 6-pointer of the season. I would say it's 6 points we desperately need and 6 points we need them to not have.
Yeah,
they're a very good football team. They're a very good team. I don't know what their injury list is. I think they've got most of their squad playing at this moment in time. We just need to control the game. We have to control the game of football. If we go into the game and try and sit back, they'll batter us. So we need to try and get our foots on the ball. We don't have to play champagne football every single moment of the game. But what we need to do is try and stop them getting momentum, which is probably try and do the dirty part of the game, which is we've got the players to do that. Anytime they get any sort of momentum, you kick them. That's what all the big teams do.
Yep.
You can't win these playing pretty. You can't win these sort of games.
You can't go toe to toe with Arsenal. They've got a very, very decent young team, but young players tire out because they haven't got the what's it called, the mental strength of older players.
I know what
so
you mean.
They will tire out. So we just got to hang in the game, control the game, whether we've got the ball or we don't have the ball, preferably with the ball. If we can get our foot on the ball and actually make them work for it and tire them out that way, it will be brilliant.
Do you feel like they start off games really well? From what I've seen from Arsenal this season, they seem to start off really fast, Ben. And I think what's most important, it seems to be, is kind of surviving that first wave of momentum. And considering they're going to be in front of their own home crowd in this North London derby, it is going to be probably likely the initial part of the game might be in their hands. It might be in their favor, Arsenal, because they'll have the momentum of the crowd, right?
They always start quickly against us, and we always make a stupid mistake. They get the crowd up, and then it's curtains for us.
You're right.
We need to survive that crowd. That is the most important thing. You've got to silence them. Because if it's
do you do that by just kind of taking the sting out of the game? Do you do that by just kind of, I don't know, surviving that bit of pressure? How can we do it differently? How can we survive that bit of pressure?
We cannot get the crowd riled up. If if Højbjerg does something silly like a really stupid foul in the first 5 minutes of the game, the Arsenal fans are going to be absolutely furious, and that's going to lift the team up. So we got to be as sterile but as controlling as possible. We've got to let them think that there is the team have to take the sting out of the game. That is whatever they do, but no stupid things. If we can get an early goal, I think that would actually be very beneficial for us because they will start getting on they'll start getting on Arsenal's back. That would be a very good thing for us.
Yeah, definitely.
For the most part, we cannot allow them to start playing football like they do because they play some brilliant football. You've got to hand it to them. Even though Arteta is an absolute fraud of a manager, we all know he's a fraud of a manager. We cannot let them play football. If they play football, they'll batter us. So what we have to do, I've said this a lot, is we've got to play properly for once. There's rocket science.
A complete performance then.
Actually, but in terms of formation, a lot of people have not why not have Kulusevski as a number 10 in a 3-5-2?
Yeah.
Put him more middle. Because what does Kulusevski mostly do anyway? He plays on the right wing and he tracks back for Emerson. Why can't he do that in the centre of midfield? It'd be more men in the box, more people to pass to, more control of the game. So I think that is what I would do to start with. If you play Højbjerg, Bentancur and Basuma, there's too many of the same player at the same time. It's just going to be too many square pegs. We need to have something absolutely different. We need to have something different. So Kulusevski, for me, get him at the ball, let him run with it, and Son and Kane up top. We know where that story is. And they can also rotate. Kulusevski can go forward, Kane can drop deep. We need to...
True.
We absolutely need to move those defenders apart because they've not had a real test.
You know what I'll say on that, Ben? The one thing I will say on that, I kind of agree within the 10, but I think you put him in the 10. You start him at right wing back. If it was me, and then let's say we're winning, and we need to be more solid in defence, then you put Kulusevski forward and bring Emerson on, and then he can do that. I just think right now, 10. I like the idea, but it's eliminating a weak. Any way we can eliminate the weakness that is Emerson for 90 minutes. You've got to take it. As much as he could be a strength playing there, he can do all that, and then it just takes one cock up on this side or whatever, and you're down. And when you're saying about how to play it as well, I've done this a couple of times now since the Arsenal comedy Gold All or Nothing came out.
Yeah,
I've watched the Tottenham documentary over and over again, and forget his formations, forget his tactics. Every single word Jose Mourinho says behind closed doors, if you listen to it, is bang on the money. And still, like when we lost to Wolves at the Tottenham Stadium 3-2 or whatever it was, he kept saying, "You just let the boys walk through and play." As soon as we got the ball and started running, Wolves players pull us down or cheap foul, just to stop the game and let it get away. This is one of the games where the dark arts are going to become huge.
Yeah.
And it's a bad way to win, but listen, it's the filth and I'll take it. If you watch it again, anyone watches it again, and just listen to what Jose says about the club and about the way we play football and the way that we're mentally prepared and whatever, he's bang on the money. He is bang on the money.
Yeah. And
like we said, like Ben was saying about them being similar players, unfortunately in this game, because we are, if you look at what Basuma did against Kane or what he used to do to Arsenal, he puts such a shift in that it eliminates their creativity.
Took him out of
the
the
game.
game.
And then it allows those two. So if he says Basuma, right, Odegaard, just watch him like a hawk.
Yeah.
If you could eliminate him and he does his job, then the two, then you've got it. But if we don't have if we play with the two, one of them is going to it's a recipe for disaster for me. But yeah, Kulu at a 10, I'd love to see it. I just don't want it to be at the expense of Emerson starting.
That's a good caveat there.
Amazingly, right the date and the time, Emerson usually does all right when he's got his back to goal. Like Man City last year. I hate Emerson Royale.
Someone had this theory early in the show, Ben. Someone said Emerson puts in his best performances against the top six.
Yeah. I hate his footballing ability. He's one of the worst right backs since Timothée Tuba. Like, he is awful. Like, absolutely shocking. The moment he gets to that halfway line, he stops being a footballer.
But thoughts on that theory? He plays better against the top six. My reasoning for that was because of the compilations being put
possibly,
together.
But he is awful. But you never do this. I'd personally love to see Jed Spence, because what did Gabriel Martinelli say last year? Someone said this on another show. The hardest person I ever played against was Jed Spence. Get in his head. Put him up against him. Say, all right then, this is the hardest guy you've ever played against. Here he is. And that's going to give Jed Spence, and it means he'll have to look behind him because he's got the pace to burn. And if we do play those three in midfield, Jed Spence can have a free roll. Just say attack, attack, attack. Get them on their bikes looking backwards. Because if they're attacking and Emerson is playing right wing back, it means that they know Martinelli and whoever they're left, who is going to be Man City kid, Zinchenko, they know that they don't have to worry about Emerson Royale. They don't have to worry about him because as soon as he gets to the halfway line, he's expendable. Unless
especially if they went with Zinchenko, who I actually think is a good player on the ball, but maybe a bit
Very good.
suspect defensively. Yeah. He is a bit suspect defensively, and you would want then someone that could actually challenge him and expose him. But Emerson wouldn't be able to do that. Emerson actually puts Zinchenko maybe more in his comfort zone, kind of not having to think about him. It's a good point you raised there.
The only person Emerson doesn't put in his comfort zone is all the Tottenham fans. No one's comfortable when he's on the pitch. Absolutely shocking. But for the most part, I'm incredibly worried about this game because I'm a very superstitious man, as probably most of the people already know.
I don't even know if it's superstition this game, Ben. I mean, we haven't gotten a result here in a long, long time. I mean, it's
because I haven't gone for the last loads of games. I've never lost at the Emirates. So if anyone's got a spare ticket,
just on that note, people. How many times have you been there, Ben?
4.
There you go. Listen, as good as my shirt is, live in the stadium. If you have gone 4 times and we haven't lost, I would be considering giving my. I'd be like, oh, do you know what? I've only seen them lose. Here you go, Ben. Sort this out.
I'm very.
Someone's going to have to take one for the team here and just give Ben their ticket. Someone's going to have to take one.
I didn't know the first time. What was it? The 3-2 was the first one I went to. I was just like, this is easy. And then as soon as I don't go, we lose. Every single time I go there, we don't lose. It's just a fact. You can't. Brad is saying, "Good try." It's a fact. You can't deny facts. I've never lost at the Emirates ever. So if anyone's got a spare, send it over. But
definitely, everybody, someone help out our man Ben. But something that had been probably brought up plenty of times. But why is it maybe so hard to get an away result in this sort of fixture? Do you think, Ben? Because neither team can do it. I mean, Arsenal can't get a result at our ground as much as we can't seem to get one really at theirs. What makes it so hard, and what makes it maybe so hard in comparison to us going to, the Etihad or a different ground?
Mentality is what it is. It's mentality.
We psych ourselves out more for this one than maybe when we go to see Man City.
We psych ourselves out. We don't believe we can win. We've lost before we've even got onto the pitch, and we need to go out there and we've got to hurt them. And I'm physically hurt them. As soon as someone gets the ball, you kick them. It's what they did in all their best teams with us. They always kicked us, and we should do the same to them. We've got no mental strength at all, as Mr. James Hunter says in the chat. We've got no mental strength. We turn up there, and we don't turn up ever. With this manager, he should say, "You do not turn up for this game." Because he knows how important this game is. I know how important it is. The players should know how important this game is.
Sorry, Ben, go on, you finish. Sorry, brother. No, I completely. The easiest way to say this as well for people when it comes to it, Ted Lasso even did a thing about it when they went to Everton, and as soon as the players got there, the whole thing was their heads down. We haven't won there for 30 years. It's, oh my God, here we go again. It's going to be another different. It does. Us, we take it as a voodoo, or sorry, a cut, just an unlucky ground. It's a bogey team and all that. But the players hear this all week.
Yeah,
this happens. And then if people have watched if anyone has watched the Sun documentary, he meets up with Thierry Henry, and Thierry Henry said, "Listen, in the training, the dressing room of the Invincibles, there were fights." There were arguments, there were heated things, and he goes on about when they won a game 4-1, Jens Lehmann went in and going absolutely batshit crazy at the whole team, but mainly his defence, and everyone was like, "Well, you were like, we won 4-1," and he was like, "Yeah, you may have scored 4 goals and got your bonuses. I didn't keep a clean sheet. So why is it okay that you score 4 and we're all happy? What about me? I want clean sheets. That's what I'm." And they used to get into huge tear-ups. And again, it goes back to Jose when he says you need to be horrible. Yeah. It's all in the mentality. We all want to see Brazilian late 70s, early 80s football. We'd all love to see that beautiful football on the pitch. But there are games where your football ability may not get the job done.
Yeah.
And it may be the mental part, the dark arts part, the the stuff where you've got to be cruel to be, and we've got to make sure we do that.
Yeah,
we've got to make sure.
We got to go there looking for a fight, and I think we could win a fight with them. Their players are not that good physically. They're like quite small players: Odegaard, Saka, Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko. They've only really got 3 physical players in the team, which is Gabriel, Saliba, and Thomas Partey if he plays.
I made the same point, Ben. In fact, I think that's their weakness with how few players they have of actual steel. If anything, the reason we should go for that 3-5-2 is because that means we get to have more players with that kind of grit on the pitch. You get to have Basuma, Bentancur, and Højbjerg to basically be able to bully the likes of those players that you were speaking of. And I think it's actually a weakness of Arsenal that they don't have enough sort of steel kind of in that team. They don't have any players that really love a tackle, that really love to get stuck in and whatnot. So it's actually sort of Spurs' strength that we have basically a plethora of players that love to do that. Whereas, I don't know, Arsenal, it's not really the case. They have more of those technical kind of, players that really just like having the ball.
Very tidy. But we're very good at set pieces, but Arsenal, I think they're quite good at set piece defending this year. But that's our strength this year. That's one thing. I can't believe Tottenham are good at set pieces. I can't believe it. Tottenham are good at set pieces.
What does it feel like to finally be dangerous from set pieces? Like now that we get a corner, Ben, it's almost like you can actually expect Spurs to score like of us from
insert
corners.
Titanic meme. It's been 84 years. It's crazy.
Never thought you'd see the
Who
day.
would have thought that a set piece coach would make you good at set pieces? Who's the set piece coach for the last 10 million years? I've been watching the club, watching Eriksen hit the first man every 2 minutes.
We just need to find a defensive set piece coach now, Ben, and we're laughing.
Yeah, and then we'll win the league. Because that's how we concede goals. Set pieces. It's mental. And who's that down to? Why did we not sign a set piece coach for that 22 years? There's one person in charge. So yeah,
what's also funny is that we've become, in fact, we're almost like the new, I hate to say this, but West Ham were that team that really relied on set pieces last season, Ben. And I'll be honest, now that we are scoring set pieces, I can kind of see why they enjoyed it so much, because it's a great way to get a goal when you're not playing very well, or if you just need to get a goal to get yourself out of pressure, perhaps even just kind of give yourself a bit of breathing room. It's a great way to do it, a set piece.
Well, it's a fundamental part of the game. There are corners and there are free kicks. So why not be good at them? Why not be good at long throws? If we can, you're more likely to get a set piece than you are a run where you're going to skin 4 people. You're more likely to get a 30-yard in-swinger, stick it in the back of the net. If we can score set pieces and be difficult to beat, I'll happily be the Stoke of the Premier League, as long as we win football matches.
Absolutely. I love that. Just take advantage of it. It's a huge part of the game. It's a fundamental part of the game. Be good at it. I love that. Don't take them for granted.
I didn't realize Perisic has such a long throw. It's ridiculous. I can't even remember the last time we had a guy that could throw, have that as a skill.
Yeah. Because
that's what you got to do. In some games, it's going to be rough and ready, and you need to. That long throw in anyone's team is a deadly weapon.
Mm-hmm.
It really puts that team. I mean, the one thing I've hated with Spurs, even under the Pochettino era, is the movement when we have a throw in.
Yeah.
We just stand still and expect the players to find us, and then when we move and a guy has got yardage, the guy who's throwing it is still waiting to think, what do I do? What do I do? And it's just been the lack of movement from these set pieces. Whereas now, like Ben said, from a long throw, it just causes havoc, period. The goalkeeper, does he come out and fist, or does he wait? Does he make a... And set pieces and his delivery, I saw a stat yesterday or today on Twitter that he's put in the most crosses in the Premier League, has the highest percentage of conversion rate, not for going to goals, but hitting the target. He's at 49% for all his crosses that he's done. And his long throws have caused havoc as well. He is an incredible... I said it from the beginning. I still think he is our marquee signing of the summer. I still think he's one of the best transfers of the entire window, not just for Tottenham, for the entire
Him
Premier
plus
League.
Rio as well.
He is just unbelievable.
Definitely.
I've been quite miffed recently because a lot of very prominent Sonny fans, as much as I love Sonny, a lot of people are saying to get the best out of Son, you need to drop Perisic. There is no way in hell I'm dropping Perisic. That man is world class.
I don't really get the logic that Sonny plays worse with better players around him. Like that just doesn't really compute with me.
If they're struggling, for me, Sonny's had a bad run of form. Now he's in a good run of form because he scored 3 brilliant
Simple
goals.
as that.
I think it'll work. And if we play a 3-5-2, Sonny won't be out on the left.
Mm-hmm.
And Perisic shaking his room because he'll be in the middle with Kane. So Kane will be making room for him. And Perisic can do what he does, which is get to the byline, stick an incredible cross in, and hopefully someone puts it in the back of the net. That's all we need to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
But there is no way in hell. This is a big game. That is the man you need for a big game. He's played the biggest games on every continent, whether it be Italy. Do these people not remember the Coppa Italia last year when Inter were 1-0 down? He scored 2 goals in 2 minutes to win the game. That is the play you need on the pitch. Not Ryan. I actually quite like Sessegnon. You don't have Sessegnon instead of Perisic. No way in hell.
He's also played some parts in some big, kind of, I don't know, like Perisic is also, I don't even, as much as the North London Derby is a very unique fixture as well, I think Perisic has played in fixtures like this, especially being the away team, like being the opponent away from home as well. Like I feel like he settles into these situations a bit more comfortably. It's almost like Ben, certain players, when that whistle starts, they'll be full of adrenaline, maybe a bit psyched out, like you said, going into it. Whereas Perisic is the least likely to be really kind of psyched out going into a game like this. Maybe more of kind of a cool head, you would say, kind of in the dressing room going into these things. Tom with a super chat saying, big up all. Can we get a result by parking the bus? Are you okay with parking the bus, Ben? Or is that not really the way that you see us getting a result here?
We cannot defend. So why would you park the bus? We cannot defend. So absolutely no. We've got to park ourselves in the middle of the pitch and be a brick wall. We've got to have a brick wall stopping them playing through us. That is how you stop
brick
them.
wall of a midfield is what we really need, not really brick
that is
wall
what
of
you
a back
need.
line. Yeah.
If they get past our midfield, you got, I don't know who's going to play left. I know it has to be Longley because Davis is the hairline fracture.
Yep.
You're trusting Moon Boots and Longley. I like Longley, but he's never played in this type of game yet. He's played in El Clasico, which is probably should say he should be able to play in a North London derby. But I don't trust him defensively enough yet. I've not seen it yet where he's a brilliant defender. He's great on the ball, but this is we cannot let them get past our midfield. Cannot let them.
Big up, Tom. Great comment, my man. And then Ellie says, Spurs will win. And here are my 3 reasons, gentlemen. Conte, and Conte. Do you feel like, Ben, are we also underestimating that Antonio Conte is probably the best manager we've had in some time going into these North London derbies? Because I said this before, as much as I loved Poch, I feel like at certain times maybe we were set up a bit naive, or I don't know, like he couldn't really psych up the players to get into the game, Pochettino, or maybe even the fact that there was such a loving kind of relationship between Pochettino and his players that he couldn't get often maybe the absolute best out of them for these sort of games consistently. Whereas maybe someone like Antonio Conte, he demands respect, but he gets fear out of these players. Like they would be terrified of performing the way they did under Nuno for Conte, if you know what I mean, Ben. So I don't know. Antonio Conte is often overlooked as maybe a strength going into this sort of fixture, if you know what I mean.
One's a winner and one wasn't. As much as I loved Poch, and we all loved Poch, Conte has won in every single team he's ever managed, except for Italy, that was almost an impossible job, and he still took them to like a ridiculous. You see where Italy are now, and they can't qualify for a major tournament, which is deeply upsetting. But deeply upsetting they can't qualify. Imagine what it's crazy. He's probably the best manager we've had since Bill Nick. He might even be a better manager than Bill Nick because the amount of trophies he's won. Everywhere he's gone, he's won stuff. He wins and he wins and he wins with usually crap players. He won a title with Chelsea with Victor Moses at right wing back. He's even though
he loves it. He loves a
himself,
good
he's not a
project.
miracle
Even
worker. That is a miracle. That's almost beyond Hanukkah story miracle. That was a miracle and a half. Victor Moses winning at right wing back is crazy. So we do have
even somehow getting results with Emerson at right wing back.
Crazy,
some
right?
people, it's unbelievable. He loves a good kind of he loves having an arm tied around his back. Conte does. It seems like he loves making things a bit harder on himself.
It's why you hire Conte.
Yeah,
you get Conte to come to win your silverware, and the way he wins silverware is by when the going gets tough, he gets going.
Whatever,
and he's like, right. And you hear that line he says all the time when he says, you don't have to win, you just can't lose.
Yeah.
And he finds a formula to do that 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
And normally works out on the positive side of a victory, because he's very methodical in what he does. There's a thought process behind everything. And when you bring in a player, you've just got to look at someone like Harry Kane. As soon as he came in, that's it. I'm fine. I'm happy. This is it. And we saw what this man, like when Jose Mourinho was at clubs, at bringing people into the club, he's just got it. He just knows what to do to get the job done. Do you think Jose Mourinho, where he sits there right now with a trophy at every club except ours, goes in and goes, do you know what? I don't care what rival fans think about me. I care about putting trophies in the cabinet for the people that employ me, and I'm going to do that no matter what it takes. And look at his record.
Well,
do you see any club
at Tottenham, and he wasn't given the chance?
Exactly. And when he's left, he's turned the club toxic, because that's what he does. Yeah. But when he comes into a club, every single club thinks we're winning something. We are going to win. It's Mourinho, and that's what we all support. We don't support the club for the balance books, and we support it because of what goes on that pitch.
Yeah,
that's what we do, and Conte gets the job done.
Yeah.
So he is huge. I said this last week on the show I did when I was on with Bobby Kajak, when I said, don't get me wrong, Bill Nicholson is the greatest manager we've ever had, because he's won us those trophies.
Yeah.
But Antonio Conte is the greatest management appointment we've ever had, and probably ever likely to have, because he is right up there on the pinnacle. Put it this way, right now, if they were to do a Mount Rushmore right now of managers currently in world football, 3 of them are in the Premier League, and that's Klopp, Guardiola, and Conte. Fact. If you're doing world football and there's 5 managers, 3 of them automatically are those 3, and there's no getting around it.
Yeah, definitely. Really well said there, Brian. And it's something that's often overlooked, I feel like, Ellie. We maybe, I don't know if we've taken Conte for granted. I wouldn't go that far, but sometimes maybe when we want to look at our strengths, and it's important to, kind of big ourselves up going into these games, Ellie, if we look at our own strengths, one of our own strengths is simply having Antonio Conte as the manager and not the Lego man. But big up, Ellie, big yourself up. Really appreciate the support. Ben, any kind of final thoughts? Maybe something that you didn't get to touch on, and then also as well, big plug is needed for the coffee company as well, because it's been a while since we've been able to plug.
A lot of things have happened. A lot of things have happened since, because now, as this man has probably said multiple times, I have now joined Tottenham on Tour as a contributor as well. So we are part of the Tottenham on Tour family as a member, and join the coffee company as well. We are building a small little community where we just be nice to each other. A lot of miserable things happening in the world at the moment. So why not spend an hour and a half of your day with this miserable folk? And we have wonderful conversations with your usual chaps. Brian, Mr. Bobby K is there. Kuva sometimes turns up. All the wonderful folks from the community are usually in the chat there as well. So just be nice to each other. Even in my barista community, people are acting like total fucking children. So let's all be nice to each other. Subscribe to the coffee company. We've got a wonderful coffee at the moment, which is called Coffee on Tour, which is the celebration of our partnership with Tottenham on Tour. It's a wonderful coffee, and you should all try it. And hopefully you can drink this coffee and Tottenham win, because I have, knowing that so bad that we're not going to win, I have given myself the bet. If we, I'm not going to do a tattoo bet like Brian. If we lose, if we beat Arsenal this weekend, I will drink a double espresso with horrible butter in it. That's how far I'm going. Everyone knows how much I hate espresso and butter. It's the worst thing since pineapple on pizza. Anyone that does that is no.
Nothing.
So find
I
out.
think I'd rather a tattoo bet, Ben.
Both of them are equally as painful, but if I get a tattoo, my
well,
mother
come
will kill me.
Saturday, we'll need some of Ben's coffee. I'll
Yeah.
tell you that, especially Brian. I know, getting up at 5:30 a.m., he'll need some of that delicious coffee.
Oh, how I could do with one of Ben's espressos when I do these 5:30s. Like I said, I've had the joy of being in that coffee house many times, and he knows as soon as I get in, I have one of it. I think it was on your channel, Jack, on David's, when I actually came for the first time with Danny, and I had an espresso.
No, it was another channel. It was another.
Oh, it was another channel.
Yeah,
and I was absolutely off my face. I was like, I could have flown home to Toronto on this stuff.
Could have ran across the water.
Banging.
Love that. But Ben, everybody, show him some love. Please hit that link, and also as well on the Tottenham on tour. That's the other one, because he's obviously got the coffee on tour. But as well, let me find the link that I put in earlier. But as well, everybody, check out the coffee company too, please. Everybody,
give it
show
a sub.
Ben some
We really
love.
need help. 214 sub. I think it's 214. I'd like to get to 250 by the end of the year, but obviously we don't.
We'll do that.
The more the merrier. The more the merrier. But yeah, thanks for having me on as always, Jacko.
Ben, I'll speak to you tomorrow. Maybe you and me do a live on Thursday or something for the North London Derby on Tottenham on tour.
Sorted. And
maybe
we get
we'll
to do the catchphrase for the first time in a few months. And as always, if you smell what the cough is brewing.
Come on, if you smell. Everybody, show Ben some love.
You've got a side hustle doing opera voiceovers. That is a very
I think I can only really do it at a certain volume. I'm actually doing it at quite a muted volume. I think if I really had to do it at like real opera levels, Brian, I'm pretty sure the voice box would probably just expire or just explode. Who knows? But I appreciate it.
It's a good talent.
What story? The out lad is in the chat saying it's early days, lads. Levy will fuck it up with Conte. I mean, it's been definitely the narrative in the media, and certainly there's a lot of evidence that would point towards that sort of ending. What story? And if Levy, he doesn't love, if anything, he doesn't love more as a big build up to a big ultimate demise. I would say in some way. Levy definitely loves it.
I personally guarantee, if he does screw this up, I will be on a plane. I even said it to Alana. I said, like, if this goes awry, I go home and I don't come back to Toronto till the job's done. I don't care if it's just me, myself, and I, me and 10 people, me and 100 people, me and 1,000 people, me and more than 1,000. If this goes tits up, and it comes up that it is all on my arch enemy, then I go nowhere till it's done, because it will just be, listen. Whether Conte leaves and he fucks up, Levy, or Conte goes of his own accord in a few years, no matter what happens, we are downgrading our manager. No matter what. It doesn't matter. It
doesn't get better.
Absolute fact. We're not getting Pep. We're not getting Klopp.
It doesn't get better.
The only way in the managerial stakes for Tottenham Hotspur, if and when he leaves, is down.
Yeah.
And we need to keep this going for as long as we can, and make this man as happy or as satisfied as possible, no matter what.
Yeah. Big up what story, big up the outlet. Hopefully you're keeping well. If I've been hearing you going on some nice walks with Dave as well recently, I'm quite jealous, because I would say nice and misty sort of Irish walk. Sounds absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful vibes. But big up the outlet. Hopefully you're keeping well this fine evening. We're going to bring on Dan THFC here. And I also have his member super chat, which I'm going to ask him about, which is kind of why I saved it, because it's an interesting one. No worries at all, Brian. Good to see you, Dan. I have your member super chat here. Thank you so much for the support as well. 4 months. Saying, big up, lads. How are we? I'll be on soon. We're not going to change it up right before a North London derby. Let's just be realistic. Emerson will start. Maybe we'll start there then, Dan. You don't think there will be a lot of changes going into this North London derby?
No, look, if you honestly sit here and believe that we're going to go with 3 in the middle, after seeing us play with that formation for 10 minutes, already 3-2 up against a poor Leicester City team, and you actually think that we're going to go into the North London derby with that, I don't know what to tell you. There's no chance that we're going to be changing it up. There's not going to be rarely any changes. If any, maybe 1 or 2. But I can't see Conte going into a North London derby and just changing everything up. I don't see Jed Spence playing. The guys barely played 10 minutes for Tottenham.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with the Jed Spence part. Do you feel like the most that could happen is in your kind of thinking? Probably then the most that could happen would be like a 3-5-2, maybe get switched to in like second half or something like that. But we're not going to start with it probably in your
the thing for me is that I'm not even against the formation. Big up Brian.
Big up Dan, brother.
I'm not even against with the formation because I want to see us transition and be able to be that team that's first. I've said it many times that I want us to be able to play and adjust to the teams that we're playing against. So when we have to play against a team that's going to dominate us in the middle, we put 3 in the middle. And when we're not playing with a team that's going to dominate us in the middle, we put 2 in the middle. We should be able to be versatile like that. And I want us to transition into that type of team. But at the moment, we've rarely seen this formation. And to change it up now, right before a North London derby, it's unrational.
Is it because I kind of see where you're coming from, because where you're saying is Conte hasn't really gone with a 3-5-2 yet. He hasn't really started with it. He's only switched to it mid-game or in second halves. So there's not really a lot that would suggest, or not a lot of evidence so far this season that would suggest he would all of a sudden change for this sort of game, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Spot on.
Do you agree with that there, Brian? Do you feel like maybe we are getting a bit ahead of ourselves and maybe we're reading too much into that Leicester game?
You know what? I always do this when I'm with it in his presence. I just need to pick this guy up because he is a absolute goddamn super. This kid, Dan, is a goddamn superstar. He really, honestly, speaking to him, me back at 15, I don't even know if I looked the right way to cross a goddamn road. I certainly wouldn't have the confidence to go and do what he does. This kid, Dan is absolutely phenomenal. Honestly, he's one of the best people on YouTube, period. But what I will say about that, do you know what? Well, when it comes to this with the 3-5-2, I get what Dan's saying, but you know what? You heard Conte for a long time, or for this season, saying that the problem with Basuma is he's not getting the tactical play. He's not getting his fitness is okay. It's his reading of the game and patterns of play. I think his whole idea has been the 3-5-2. But Basuma getting to learn that 3-5-2 has been an issue. And then obviously he came on against Brighton and said, right, let's see what you can do. Play it now. And he did it. You saw the change in the game. So I completely agree with what Dan's saying, but I think this whole switch was made because Basuma's understanding the patterns of play now. And it was like, right, 2-2, off you go. And I think it's now made him think, he might have got it. And I will say Basuma, and I've got over this, every time Brighton have played, he has had a stormer. He has had a stormer for Brighton. And I think, do you know what? You look at what Dan's saying and thinking it may be a bit irrational, but I'm thinking, I think the other way, that if we don't overload that midfield, that's just stubbornness. That's just stubbornness from Conte. And it's like, do you take stubbornness over thinking it may work, or do you go with something that we saw in Leicester that will work and has been our Achilles heel every single time we go to the Emirates?
Do you agree with that, Dan? Would it hurt us to go with the 3-4-3, knowing what's happened before with how Arsenal have overwhelmed that midfield?
No, I can 100% agree with it. But the thing is, what we should have done was we should have tried to transition into this type of formation before. My problem is,
season.
Like, we can't just go into this and now all of a sudden, oh yeah, lads, been all the things that I've been telling you all season. We're going to play with 3 in the middle now. You can't make that big of a change. And I would, maybe if we go up, if we're 2-1 up and then we in the second half we bring on Basuma and then we go 3 in the middle, that's fine. But I see no galaxy and no possibility in the realms of the universe that Conte will go into this starting the game with 3 in the middle. I don't see any possibility in that.
You know what, Dan, I have to say, I've said this all along. I want to see a 3-5-2. I'm 100% with you. His stubbornness will go through, and it will be a 3-4-3. What I want is 3-5-2. What I think we'll see, or what we'll probably see, is 3-4-3.
Well, no matter what, is that what we do know is what Ellie is saying here is that our Italian will cook up a storm to mentally win us the match before we even kick a ball. He is a born winner, and Arteta is a born follower.
Born runner.
Born runner. Well, even better said. Dan, love that. Thoughts on maybe actually Arteta versus Conte? Is that really kind of maybe where Spurs' strength even lies? That Conte is maybe a bit more of a pragmatic manager in kind of the good sort of sense, I would argue, Dan. Whereas, I don't know, Arteta, he's played some nice football, or he's instilled some nice football, but he's shown to be naive in the past.
Hey, I mean, I've got no problem with a tactical battle, because if you actually think there's a bit of a comparison between Arteta and Conte, I honestly do not know what to tell you. Arteta will bring a light bulb before the game. In the dressing room, he's going to be he's going to find a tweet from Harry Kane 15 years ago. The guy is actually, I don't rate him at all. Like, obviously, not big up, but fair play. He's done well this season. But if you look at the actual fixtures they've played, there's not been, when they've won top 16 they played, they've lost. I'm 100% confident. And by the way, with all the smack I've been talking, right, like all over Spurs, all over like football channels at the moment, I cannot come out here and say that I'm not confident. But like at this Antonio Conte Arteta debate, that's definitely going to be our strength going into this game. This is a tactical battle.
Yeah,
we've just got a better manager, and when you do the combined 11s, you've got to take that into account.
Yeah, great answer. He's not a follower, Ellie. He's a runner, said Dan. Great answer. And certainly our Italian will kick us up a nice storm, and be nice to see the Emirates kind of in a storm and not in the comfortable position that they've been, especially recently. And hopefully we can go into their house, cause up a storm, like you said, Ellie, maybe come out of there with at least a point. Who knows? Maybe even more than that, but pick yourself up.
I don't know if you've heard. I don't know if you've heard, but there's a hurricane coming to Florida. Now that you've said storm coming, and it's a bad hurricane.
That's not good. I'll probably feel some effects.
If the light goes out on Saturday, I'm sorry. I'm rioting. If the light goes out on Saturday,
that's a true Spurs fan. There could be a hurricane, there could be everything, but if it goes off during Spurs Arsenal, I'm rioting. It's brilliant.
He's willing to ride the storm after the game is over, Brian. He just doesn't want the storm to be there at in between the hours of 7:30 a.m. and 10 a.m. Absolutely. Dan, since we are kind of talking about maybe, Arsenal versus Spurs and kind of, less of the tactical sense, I have asked people this. Do you feel like Arsenal are sort of portrayed as maybe media darlings? Like everybody seems to really, I don't know, like this Arsenal team, or they seem to have some sort of fondness for them, whereas that might not be the case with Spurs. Maybe Spurs are kind of seen as unlikable to the average football fan, whereas Arsenal seem to be everybody's kind of team that they, I don't know, have a soft spot for this season.
I have to disagree, actually, because Arsenal, I don't know if it's maybe the media, yes, but between football fans,
definitely not football fans.
They hate Arsenal. Like I know a Leicester City fan. He's not he doesn't love Tottenham, but he absolutely hates Arsenal. And there's millions of them because their fans just like, it's like they've got short-term memory loss. They've got the memory of a goldfish. So they lose, and then the next season, the exact same thing happens. Big up, Bobby. And they don't learn their lesson. They just want to talk with their chest, and the team always lets them down. So I think that football fans actually hate Arsenal. I do. The media, though, there's always been something in the media against Tottenham. Literally,
because Arsenal seem to be the only team mentioned as the other title contender alongside Man City, Dan.
That's the thing. The media is always has been. It's not just now. Always has been against Tottenham, the media. I just think that it's probably because the media narrative that they play better football.
Yeah.
I mean, when we were with Jose Mourinho, and when we were with Jose Mourinho and we were top of the league for a while, the media portrayed it as a disgraceful to the Premier League. They cannot sustain this, which fair play we didn't. But like at the same time, there's always been something in the media against Tottenham. You look at it now. You can even look at it clearly now. The fact that Conte is being rumored to go to Juventus, and then people are actually believing it is the funny part. And then like you cast yourself like last year, not this time, but last year remember when Conte was going to sign to PSG? Remember that, lads? It happens. Like the media makes up stories against Tottenham. The media has always been against Tottenham, and that's just something that runs down history. If you even look at the term Spursy, who created that word? The media.
Dan, I have to tell you, I've had so many arguments with Arsenal fans during this fixture because one of the things they do, like you said, is when you said they have a short-term memory, it reminded me. Now, when we weren't winning anything and they weren't winning anything, all they tweeted us about was who's finished top, St Tottingham's Day, St Tottingham's Day. Well, now we finished on top, and I go for them. They go, yeah, well, when was the last time you won a trophy?
Wait a
minute. I was like, wait a minute. A minute ago, you were talking about the present and finishing above us, but now the present is we finish above you. It's where are the trophies? And then I saw someone tweeted, and this is before Son had scored his hat trick, saying Jesus had scored more than Son, Kulusevski, and Richarlison combined. And I was like, okay, well, let me just add Harry Kane into that conversation, which you just forgot because they're both strikers. And they're like, oh, yeah, but I'm not counting Harry Kane. I was like, well, why aren't you counting Harry Kane? You just said a striker has scored more than Richarlison, who hadn't started on the bench, Decky, who's a supplier, and someone else. And I was like, and Son, who hadn't started. So I said, let me just change the narrative and say, well, Son has scored more than Jesus, period. There's no need to go than this player. They always move the goalpost to suit their agenda. And most importantly, that one they always come back with. I'm like, sir, I'm talking. Why are you guys always talking about the past when we're talking about the present? They're like, oh, well, and then when they're not winning anything, you watch. It's not going to happen this season or any season soon. As soon as they finish above us and go, oh, St Tottenham's Day, St Tottenham. And I'll be like, well, wait a minute. Weren't you talking about the past and trophies? But now you flipped again. They are just pointless people to speak to.
The double standard with Arsenal fans is actually insane. And then the thing is, when they were in the top 4 spot and it looked like Arsenal was going to get Champions League, they were partying in the streets.
Yep.
And then the least you do, we didn't even celebrate that much when we got top 4. Obviously, we were happy because we got it over Arsenal, but we didn't celebrate as much as when they were top 4 for temporary time. So, and then all you hear in the replies are, "Wore a trophy. Oh, nice trophy." But stick that into the trophy cabinet. It's actually like Arsenal fans. It's just so pointless to debate with them because you don't get anywhere. It's like debating with a toddler.
The thing is, Dan, Arsene Wenger is the one that said top 4 is a trophy. Their own manager said it, but now, or their ex-manager, but now that they're not getting it, oh yeah, well, why do we can't win the Champions League, so we'll go into the Europa and win that. Well, you haven't, and you won't.
I also agree here with Luke, and this is kind of where the question is coming from. Everyone always talks about Tottenham being Spursy, but when Arsenal bottled the Champions League football like last season, what's the narrative then? Suddenly, the narrative can be different at Tottenham. I agree. If that were Tottenham bottling the Champions League in the way that Arsenal did, it would be still spoken about to a much more extent and to probably brought up a whole lot more than even in the case with Arsenal. In fact, the way that Arsenal sort of bowed out of that Champions League run, it's like it really has just been sort of forgotten or kind of just seen as not really actually that embarrassing or that big of a deal or whatnot, sort of kind of brushed under the carpet sort of situation. And I'm almost can promise you that would not be the case with the likes of if that had happened to Spurs. So big up, Luke. So definitely agree with you there. Dan, any sort of kind of talking points that maybe we didn't get to discuss with you, or any kind of sort of things that maybe you wanted to bring up before we start plugging your channel and whatnot?
I mean, well, international break looked interesting today. Richarlison scored again and another assist. So Richarlison, I mean, and Jesus, I see it looks like but honestly, like, Richarlison's such a baller, and like this signing, the depth we have up front, if we could replicate that across the field, what a team we'll have. But at the moment, and the other thing is that I don't agree with that narrative that we play defensive football. Because if you actually don't look at the possession and you go down a bit and you scroll down and then you look at chances created, we actually have more chances created. Like than most games that we play, we actually have more chances created than the other team. The thing when you say, oh, they dominated a game, the first thing you look at is the possession. I think that possession doesn't matter. What you need to win games is goals. And how do you get goals? By taking shots. How do you get shots? By creating chances. For me, when you say that somebody dominated the game, first thing I look at is the chances created. And we've made plenty of chances. But the problem is we weren't clinical. Now, Sonny's coming into form, which he also scored today. Richarlison's looking really good. Kane's been scoring goals. Decky looked good last game. It's looking good for our front four. The problem for me would be defensively. But I'm so confident for this game.
You're feeling more confident than maybe you would say seasons past. Is this the most confident you've ever been going into this type of fixture away from home? It's hard to know. To be honest, I think this is the most confident I've ever been going into it. I'm not saying I'm full of confidence. In fact, I'm nowhere near full of confidence. I'm still very nervous, still very anxious. And in fact, I'm not convinced that Spurs will get a result. But if any of the fixtures of away from home for this North London derby, this is probably the one I've been I can convince myself more that Spurs can get a result than in years past. I think in years past, Dan, I would have been lying to myself maybe a bit more.
Yeah, but the thing is with me, you could call it delusion, but when we play Arsenal, I will always speak with my chest. And like I will always stick it to the Arsenal fans. The problem becomes if we lose, I gotta go into hiding. But
I think we all do.
I just think that I can't really say that I'm more confident than the others because I'm literally just when we go into a North London derby, I say I'm confident. But when you watch a North London derby, you can never as a Spurs fan or as an Arsenal fan, you can never sit back and enjoy a North London derby. You're always going to be at the edge of your seat. You're always going to be biting your nails and waiting for that full-time whistle if you're in the lead or not. But I'm confident-wise, I'm very confident. I think that we could definitely get a result here.
Love that. And Dan THFC, maybe tell us a bit about the channel. I see you're on 615. I'd want to see that be higher because honestly, Dan, you've been absolutely smashing it since coming on to these fan shows. So I would love to see the Irish Hotspur Army, whoever is still left in the house, show you a bit of love. So anything coming up on the channel or anything that they should know about your channel, my man?
Yeah, I'm trying to get some Arsenal fans on for a combined 11. Well, I've actually found reasonable Arsenal fans. Let that sink in. I didn't think they existed, but I found reasonable Arsenal fans.
You had to hunt. You had to find them.
I had to hunt I had to look for years and years, and I finally found them. The rare species of reasonable Arsenal fans. And we're also going to do a lot of content for the Arsenal game. I'm not sure if I'm going to go to the pub, mainly because of the whole hurricane thing. We're even getting tornado warnings over here.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
Which we literally never get. Like Florida, when you think of Florida, you never think of tornadoes. Mostly hurricanes. I'm kind of used to them now. But yeah, it's with the content on the channel, we're probably gonna do. I'm also gonna do a video of 5 reasons why Arsenal fans should be scared. Again, I'm just
Only
talking
5?
with my chest.
Only 5.
I could have done a lot more.
It's got to be clickable, Brian. Like it's got to be. It can't be 50.
59 reasons why Tottenham will destroy Arsenal. That doesn't fit in the thumbnail. If I put all the reasons, it wouldn't fit in a video. Like the video would be too long. But yeah, you guys can check me over there. I also do a Monday podcast every Monday, and yeah, that's about it. Big up.
Dan, I need to come back on that, brother. Let me know when you're next on.
All right, we do it. We're doing like open shows, so like we put the link in the chat, like a bit like Will Stewart's shows. But I'll let you know for the next one.
Yeah, let me know, and then I'll definitely make sure. Especially if we win, I'll actually if we lose, I'll have a lot to say as well. I'll definitely be there Monday, brother.
Nice.
All right, big up, lads. Nice. Big up, lads. Come on, you Spurs, and get Harry Kane off free kicks.
That's his close for everything. That's how he leaves every single stream now. And I have to say, to everyone in Florida, and do you know what? Sometimes people moan to me, or I used to moan about the English weather, and obviously it rains a lot or whatever. But one thing I'm very, very grateful for, and people in England are very, very grateful for, very rarely do we have hurricanes or storms or tornadoes. Definitely, we never have. Like we have bad. Don't get me wrong, we have really bad rain sometimes, but it's nothing to the levels of what parts of America live through and the risk of earthquake and all that. So So people in Florida, I hope you all stay safe, man.
No, definitely. I mean, Florida gets hit very, very hard. Certain times that they deal with it really well. Other times it's just way too much for them. And, they do get hit really hard. So everybody definitely keep that state, as well as Dan, of course, in your thoughts. And hopefully they stay safe this weekend. And I must be honest, Brian, too, if it is a tornado and a hurricane coming, I mean, we're going to be feeling sort of the after effects of it actually over here in New York as well. It's always the case that we sort of get some sort of after effects from it too. So definitely not something I like to be seeing coming into the weekend, but hopefully we'll find a way. And yeah, really well said there, Brian, though. Appreciate that. Bigger things than football sometimes in the world for 100%. Sure. But we do have a comment here from Ellie, and she's giving it a super sticker, and she's saying top, absolute top, and she's saying top for when we're going top of the league. And this is an excellent opportunity. It is, Ellie. And I feel like as much as I would be absolutely over the moon with that point, getting 3 points means you take a big bite out of the likes of Arsenal and you take a big chunk away from them. That would mean 6 drop points against top 6 teams this season for them, or your traditional top 6. So that would be huge for us, seeing them drop points against the likes of Man United and then us. I mean, they still have plenty more big teams to come up against, so it could be really good for us. Absolutely right, Ellie, and a good opportunity to start challenging for the top of the league and to put our name in the conversation for top of the league. Big up, Ellie. Really do appreciate it. And then David is in the house coming back from the Armenia 3-2 or Ireland Armenia 3-2 thriller, 5-goal thriller at the Aviva in the pouring rain. The Irish Hotspur says, "Come on, you boys in green. Doherty played shite, and so did Parrott." Well, I guess for Doherty watch, not very impressive by the looks of things. Especially, you would like him to play maybe a bit better against the likes of Armenia, of all teams, as well. And then Troy Parrott, I mean, he missed a really big sitter, so I heard, in his most recent game against the likes of Scotland, Dave. And if he's missing sitters against Scotland and then not playing well against Armenia, I don't know. I don't want to say it, but is he going back to the old Troy Parrott sort of form? That would be a disappointment. That would be a disappointment if that were the case. But I'd like to think that he's turned things around regardless. But not good to see that Doherty didn't play well. I definitely don't think that's a good thing to be seeing. But as Lazy 8 says, stuff crying Arteta.
There's just something I want to say about that with Nick's comment. Now, I'm good friends with Tim Winston, who is the singer of Spurs Song Sheet. He's a great guy. We all know the wicked chants that he's doing and everything. They've actually released an album of it for a playlist on SoundCloud. And that's what it's called, From the Lane. You can find it on SoundCloud. And it's got the Richarlison song, Stop Crying Arteta. It's just the best playlist to play on the bill, or just any time you're doing the dishes, you're doing some laundry, you're on your way to work, or you're on the way to the game or the pub around the world. Go on SoundCloud and download From the Lane, Tim Winston, and it's just back-to-back Spurs Song Sheet chants that are getting played over and over and over.
They're legends. Big up. And also, Lazy, I really appreciate you tuning in as well, Nick. Thank you, my man. Really appreciate it. And everybody, do smash that like button. I'm pretty sure now is the final guest of the evening. We're going to be ending off with our man out in Poland, Mr. Michael, the tactician, as you like to say. But we're going to get some comments from his, some talking points from his on the North London Derby. Then we're going to plug Brian's channel one last time. Then we're going to wrap it up here on this fine fan show evening. But Michael, good to see you.
Hello, boys. Yeah,
Michael, loving the fact that you've got your headphones to mount your shirt. That is taking fashion to a whole new level.
It's looking sick for you, Brian.
Honestly, that wasn't planned, but yeah, sorry for coming on so late, but
you're on your own time, my man. Like I said before, we're going to be here for everybody, and that's why I haven't even really taken the link out, I think, until just like 10 minutes ago, just because I wanted everybody to get their chance to be able to come on today. Of course, we'll have another one Friday as well, anybody, in case you did miss it. But
yeah, I promise I will be there.
Well, we got to get the regulars on. We need our crew, especially you, Michael. But where do you want to start? I mean, we've had a variety of topics that we've maybe spoke about today. Obviously, the 3-4-3 and the 3-5-2 has been spoken about to some extent. I kind of spoke about how Arsenal, I think, are kind of the media darlings of this season. As well, we kind of spoke about maybe why it's so hard to get a result away from home in this fixture. But I don't know, Michael, you've been here before. You're a bit of a pro when it comes to these. What do you want to talk about?
So thanks for the reminder of the topics, because actually I just joined in, so I didn't see what you were talking with
just
with the
in,
previous
sort of.
guests. But like maybe with the unlikable and likable topic, I've heard somewhere that it's about like someone called it the three red teams are likable, like United, Arsenal, and Liverpool. And they are basically media darlings, as you said. And, the other side of the spectrum, which is the blues and the whites, which is us,
so
Chelsea
liked,
and City, not so liked. And basically, sometimes they're criticized for things that they necessarily shouldn't be criticized for. And, I've heard the last thing that you spoke with Dan about what would happen if we failed the top 4 race, if we were in Arsenal's position, right? I think that you wouldn't hear the end of it.
We wouldn't.
And I'm not even talking from the fans. I'm talking like from the media. It would be all the narrative about us bottling shit again, and all that stuff. So
I agree.
I agree with that. It's honestly, on one hand, I often get kind of pissed because of it, like we all do, because no one really likes being like scrutinized in the media, right? On the other hand, that's one thing that kind of drew me to Tottenham, which was that they are treated as underdogs, as a team that maybe necessarily in people's eyes isn't worthy of winning or whatever, which I think is bullshit. And I really like the underdog story, and I feel like it will, this narrative will suit us eventually, and I think that Conte is a perfect man to make sure that we actually break this curse or whatever you want to call it, right? And that kind of story is more beautiful to me than winning everything like every year, like Paris Saint-Germain does, right? Like of course, like I bet that their fans feel joy when they win the league title, right? But it's not like so special as it is when Tottenham is winning something, right? Yeah.
Do you feel like, I agree with you with how maybe perhaps there's a bit of a, I don't know if it's a coincidence. You might be right. A lot of the red teams do seem to be actually sort of the liked media darlings, or even the well-covered teams, as I like to say, because even when teams, or even when media is sort of, ranting about Man United, they still are talking about Man United at any opportunity they can get. And I think it's the same thing sort of with the likes of Arsenal and Liverpool. Whereas with Spurs, I agree with you. Had Spurs been in the position Arsenal did, and they had sort of bottled it, I think the whole time Spurs would never really be given any respect by the media. And in fact, this summer was sort of the first time I think Spurs were actually spoken about with any sort of like sincerity or any sort of like actual real like credibility, because in seasons past, it just feels like we get kind of sort of glossed over, not even really paid attention to very much in the whole kind of top 6 kind of debate. And this season, I think for once, we were given a bit of attention. But in the same breath that I say that, Michael, Arsenal are the only team that are mentioned as like the title contenders alongside Man City this season. And that's where I'm kind of getting at. It's like, while maybe Spurs have maybe earned a bit more respect from the media and whatnot, I feel like at the same breath, like Arsenal are being somehow credited for beating Bournemouth, and then all of a sudden that means they're going to be the only team challenging Man City for the league. It just feels like it's not a level playing field.
Shall I tell you why? It's very, very simple. Domestically, until the rise of Chelsea and Manchester City with their money, you've just mentioned the 3 most successful domestic teams.
All happen to be the Reds.
All happen to be the Reds.
They just have, like it or not, they are the 3 most successful domestic teams. Before, like I said, the right Chelsea and Man City have come to rock the boat, but historically, they're a team that do. They are a team that do. They've got the job done. When people have backed them or not backed them, they found a way. Look at Arsenal with their FA Cup wins recently. Not so recent, but when they were winning it back to back and still got an FA Cup under Arteta, they did. And every time we go to do, regardless of the situation, regardless of what it is, exactly. So why are they going to? They put their thoughts on them because historically they have got the job done.
And also, I must, to be fair, also as well, Brian, and I think you would agree with me here that because of that, historically those teams in those time periods did so well. Most of the people in media right now, especially in punditry, are from those teams, I think, of that generation. And so they're all, most of the punditry seem to be either ex-Arsenal, ex-Man United, ex-Liverpool.
You're right, but the thing is, the only way we're going to be mentioned is when we get that first trophy.
Yeah.
And then when we make it a second trophy. And then when we make it a third trophy. It's all well and good making this wonderful stadium, making this wonderful training ground, which is, they are incredible, and having Conte. But until Tottenham Hotspur get to walk up the Wembley stairs or do it on the pitch and we see some armpits, until that happens, unfortunately, this is what's going to happen in the media. They're going to say, yes, Tottenham are progressing, Tottenham. But when it comes to saying, will Tottenham get the job done?
That's a good explanation. That's a good explanation for that, Brian, actually. And also King Hoddle saying here, Michael, the leeway given to Arteta by the media is outrageous. They finished 8th twice under him, then 5th with huge backing as well, also being, the biggest spenders in Europe. But no one likes to talk about that. I must say, though, as much as I completely agree with King Hoddle, and I still am on King Hoddle's side about that, that was a great explanation by Brian, I would say. It sort of explains what we're kind of talking about here, maybe where the media is coming from. But Michael, we've spoken enough, time for you to come in here.
Basically I could echo what Brian said, but I personally don't mind that narrative. As I said, I think it's the wait for the first trophy. We have 26 of them, but everyone says that our trophy cabinet is empty. It's not, but it's just that in recent times we haven't won much, right? But waiting for that, let's say, first trophy, that for me it's exciting, it's beautiful. The only thing that's annoying about it is when you get into like an argument with a fan of other clubs. They always have that that trump card that can not necessarily shut you down, but that's the only part that's annoying. But
it's the cheap dig that we just want to go away, I would say. It's sort of it's a cheap kind of a retort that seems to be often used by rival fans, that we just want to go away. And I think Brian is absolutely right, Michael, that if Spurs are successful with Conte this season, if they do maybe get a trophy in the bag, and especially if they do continue to finish above Arsenal as well, these are all the right steps and maybe demanding a bit of that respect back and earning a bit of that respect back, I would say, that maybe has been lost with the media and whatnot.
Like when you compare us to the other like two clubs that maybe aren't held into such high like regard by pundits and Chelsea and City, I don't really like that narrative that they bought their trophies, but they kind of did. Like, if you are honest, because like both of those teams, I'm not saying they don't have history, they didn't win anything previously, right? But they weren't as big as they are now before the money came, right? True. And in our case, we aren't like, our club isn't poor, but the owners, they have different priorities, and I don't want to get into the owner debate, because we have the NLD to talk about still. But we have to take things step by step, and as you said, finishing over Arsenal for what is it, 6 years straight right now, right? The previous season was 6th in a row. That's a nice step forwards, right? When we finish, I hope that we finish in front of like United and Chelsea this season. That's another step forward you can make, right? Agree. I don't think that we can win the title just because I think the gap between us and City, and even if you put Liverpool in that same basket, I think the gap is a bit too big. Even if we have like a stellar season and we finish in like, I don't know, 86 or whatever points, it would take City to fall from their level, which both for
in
both
these days 86 points isn't enough. You'll need 95.
Like Ferguson won the title 13 times and he only achieved over 90 points once, right? And Liverpool already had like 3 or 4 seasons of over 90 points. where they
And still
didn't
got
win
second.
the trophy, right?
Yeah.
So it's mad when you think about it, but maybe we should talk about the game itself, because all that.
Take us
that's a
away.
really
Go us
lengthy
into this
topic,
North
yeah.
London derby. Enough of the media talk. Enough of the future talk. Let's talk about maybe this North London derby. What are Spurs' maybe strengths and weaknesses as well as Arsenal's? And maybe I'll start with Arsenal's. I don't know, Michael, but you're welcome to take it however you like. But I must say, one of the big weaknesses that I feel like is the case with Arsenal is they have a lot of really good technically gifted players. Don't get me wrong. And they have a lot of players that know what to do with the ball and enjoy having the ball. But, and a big but, I don't think they have enough sort of steel in that midfield, especially if Spurs, with the likes of Højbjerg, Bentancur, etc., there is that possibility that if maybe the referee lets a few things slide in this sort of game, I think we could probably bully that midfield, at least in the physical sense, if you know what I mean. That's the one weakness I would say with Arsenal. I don't think they're as physically strong as most teams.
Yeah, so like for me, whether you look at it as a weakness or just as a drawback of that style of play, they
True.
play high possession football, which means they commit a lot of bodies forwards, which means they have to play a high line, because that's, on one hand, it's the safest way to defend when you play a lot of bodies forwards, right? But it's the most dangerous when you play against a counter-attacking team that does it well. Oh, sorry, my cat just jumped on my desk. Sorry, guys. Yeah, say welcome. Sorry. Yeah, because he would knock my camera off, and I would just then have to fix it. Never mind. Sorry.
He doesn't
Coming
like
back
hearing
to
all
the
this Arsenal talk. So
Yeah, that's what it is, Jack.
Yep.
Yeah, so like coming back to the topic, when you play a high line against a team like ours, it will always be dangerous unless they absolutely like neutralize us and don't allow us any like sort of possession. Similarly to what Chelsea did, because they also, I mean, their style is different because they play free at the back, right? But they also pressed us really high and didn't allow us to make the transition, right? But I think that Chelsea on top of their game, like they were against us, are way better than Arsenal is. I know that it sounds mad to say because of where Arsenal is and where Chelsea is in the table and how their seasons are going, right? But I think that Chelsea game was they played almost like perfectly, and we still took away the points. That I know with a dodgy,
I know what you mean,
referee decisions, right? But still, I feel like that's their weakness or a disadvantage of their style of play, which we are really good at capitalizing on. And in terms of the midfield battle, I feel like they have strong midfielders. I'm strong in terms of like physically strong, but I think that some of them have like weak mentality. I'm talking about Shaka mainly, right?
I know what you mean.
And I'm not sure you guys can confirm it, but isn't Partey injured? Didn't he get injured
He
in the game against Brazil?
he's unlikely. I think he's unlikely.
Yeah, unlikely.
He could play though.
I think that's huge, because them going from Partey to Lokonga or whoever will play in his place, it's a massive downgrade.
Spot on.
So yeah, I feel like that so then I also want to connect this to their strength. I feel like they are really good at creating overloads on the sides of the pitch. I've watched the Tottenham away video, and Stel was saying there about the tactics that they use, and it was their wing backs and a winger creating an overload on one side, and also Jesus is often tucking into that side, creating like 3-on-2 situations on one side of the field. And you would think that then one of your holding mids, which we have two of, has to drop to the side to help out with that overload, but then it creates an overload in the middle where they have, like, for example, Xhaka and Odegaard sitting in the middle, and when the ball gets transitioned to the middle, they create an overload quickly in the middle, and they can shift the ball pretty quickly through the sides. It just takes Jesus to tuck in on the other side, and they are good at it. I actually have to like applaud whoever created that tactic. If maybe it was Arteta, I don't know. I doubt it, but I have to applaud that tactic. It's dangerous, and I feel like to react to that, the best way probably would be to play a 5-3-2 or a 3-5-2, but I don't think we will. I just feel like Conte will stick to the formation we've played so far, just because it's in my opinion it's dangerous to try a new formation in such an important game. I feel like if we wanted to transition to a 3-5-2, it would be better to do that in a game like against, with all due respect, Crystal Palace or Fulham or Bournemouth or whoever, right? Teams that aren't as dangerous as Arsenal are. So yeah, I think that's their strength and that's their weakness. And to be honest, our weaknesses and strengths kind of like mirror theirs. So our strength is really good against their weakness, and their strength is really good against our weakness, which is getting overloaded in the midfield or overloaded on one of the sides of the pitch, right? So I think that from like tactics wise, it's an amazing game, and it can, of course, it can always go both ways, right? But yeah, like I on one hand I'm excited for this. I really want to watch this game. I am hyped for it. On the other hand, I'm kind of scared shitless because it's a game against your biggest rivals, and
it's also after an international break. It makes it a bit more scary, if you know what I mean, where we have a bit of a break from football. We're not going up against Bournemouth. We're not playing a Bristol City or something after international break. We're playing a North London derby, the biggest one of the season, away from home, not even at home, away from home as well. I mean, it's nice to have this break before going into the North London derby for sure. The same time, it's not an easy one to get started again with the football schedule. I'll tell you that, especially the hectic schedule we're about to get into too.
Yeah, I think the thing you've got to think about as well with Thomas Partey is this could be, yes, he seems unlikely, but do you remember when we beat Man U 6-1 and Sonny had a hamstring? We never expected to see him, and then oops, all of a sudden, look at that.
Yeah,
there he appeared. This could you got to remember, it looks highly unlikely. But I don't believe a goddamn word of these injury doubts because miraculously, it's the dark arts.
I mean, they faked COVID tests.
Exactly. It's the dark arts and playing. Yeah, he's not playing. He's injured. Wallop. There he is.
Yeah,
and I don't think Conte has got the brains. He's got the streetwise to say, listen, I ain't listen to this bullshit. I've played this bullshit. You're not gonna. I'm gonna have my team set up for whatever formation or whatever thing you try to play. And again, if Partey does play, then we definitely need three in the middle. If he doesn't play, then we need three in the middle, in my opinion. But yeah, when it comes to these injuries, I used to really believe him until Mourinho did that with him and Son, where he's like, yep, not playing. There he is, bang. I was like, huh. Dark
You're like, that's possible. Yeah, they can go.
Exactly. It's so we'll have to see. But you know what? When he did play against us, he went off with a hamstring when we beat them 2-1 at the lane during COVID, when Son scored that screamer. I actually can't remember him being heavily involved when he has played. It's like we
just know that they're a much better team with him in the side. But I agree with you, Brian. He hasn't exactly, with him being in the team though, in all these North London derbies, he hasn't been by far the best player on the pitch or anything, or the most influential player. That's a good point you make there. A good distinction maybe you make there. Yeah.
I think whether he's fit or not, I think Conte will plan as if he was fit, because like the difference with us saying that Son is injured, it makes a massive difference, because whichever player we put there, it's not only about the drop of quality, it's also like a different style of play, because I feel like the player that we could put in that place was Bergwijn at that time, I think, or no, I don't think Bergwijn was in the team at that moment, or maybe he was. No, he was. Nevertheless, I think Bergwijn's style of play was much different than Son's. Whereas if Partey doesn't play, a person that comes in for him will play that center defensive midfielder role, right? And the drop of quality will be there, but the role of that player will be the same in that system, because I don't think like they can change the system if Partey isn't fit and go to like two in the middle and do whatever, something crazy, right? Yeah, so the goal of that person on that pitch will be the same as Partey's. So I feel like you have to like play. You have to plan for the strongest way your opponent can be, in my opinion. And we just have. I think we just have a perfect manager to do that thing exactly. One thing that gives me like confidence in that game. I'm not saying I'm confident we will win. I'm saying like I am confident we will perform. Maybe it won't be pretty, but it won't be like the Nuno game. Like that was shambolic. I was absolutely gutted for like next 3 days. It was so bad. Like I wasn't living with my girlfriend back then, and we are writing on like some form of chat.
So you
And
had
I
no
was all
arm to
pissed
cry
off.
on
Yeah,
or anything that
yeah.
night.
I was all pissed off, and she was like, what's the deal with you? Why are you like this? And I said, we lost the game 3-1 against Arsenal, and she was like, so what? And then I was like, oh, you fuck. I was so pissed. I taught her the importance of that game, and she's like Tottenham all the way. Maybe doesn't watch the game, but she is Tottenham all the way, so she knows how important that game is.
Well,
But
hopefully she'll be well, I don't want her to be a shoulder to cry on for this fixture, but maybe a different fixture. Maybe she'll be there for you. Michael, love that
Honestly,
story.
Michael, I'll tell you one thing. I don't know if you've heard this story, but before my wonderful wife that I married and happily married for 8 years, I was actually engaged like 2004. I got engaged in Israel to a woman, and we broke up because she asked me to choose between her and Spurs versus Arsenal match, and I chose Spurs Arsenal. So listen, it's a huge part. Honestly, when people say to me afterwards, "Oh, it's just a game," it's like
no, it's not.
Do not say those 3 words. And I can remember we lost it. We lost the North London. Did we lose it or whatever? I think we did. And it's like when I come home from it here in Canada, because I think with the American sports, like Toronto, there is one Toronto Raptors. There is one Toronto Maple Leafs. There is one Toronto Blue Jays. There's no like rivalry. They just don't understand over here. So when we lose and we've lost, I've come home, come to bed, put my phone off, and just stayed under the sheets for the whole day because I'm like, I don't want to talk to anyone. It's the one game.
It's even hard to watch other football. I'll be honest. Like it just.
I don't.
Yeah, I know what you mean, Brian. Yeah, spot on.
Yeah. It's hard. My brother is a Chelsea supporter, and when we lost those 3 games in January against Chelsea, he was absolutely cooking me on Messenger. And, every time I went online, he was like, "Ha!" He was like laughing at me, and yeah, I was really down back then, and it was also like the time of like exams on my uni, so yeah, it was a tough time. So yeah, I understand how it's for a person who isn't as invested in a team, it's hard to imagine like how can you be down over it if your team loses, and especially if they lose to a rival, right? It's really tough to swallow that pill often, right? But yeah, like I don't want to even think about those feelings. I want to be happy after this game. I have that feeling deep inside me that I have something, like I feel something brewing here, and I am positive about this game. As I said, I'm scared shitless, but I'm positive.
Definitely. Well, Michael, absolute pleasure having you on as always. Looking forward to seeing you Friday as well. So hopefully we can, have some more
Score
chats.
Score prediction.
Give me the score prediction. Sorry, I'm a little tired. So
No,
not as
no
professional.
worries.
Take it away. Give me it. You're a professional. Like I said to you before, you can run this yourself. Take it away.
Yeah, like when I think about this game, like the score that comes to my mind immediately is 2-2. But I want to say it will finish 2-1 to us.
Would you be over the moon
believe,
with 2-2? Would you be over the moon with a Desmond?
Not over the moon. I would be happy. I would be over the moon with a win, just because I feel like we can win this time, right? Because there were certain North London derbies where you went into that game and you knew that you are going to lose. Like the game against them with Nuno in charge. I watched this game, but I knew from the beginning that we are going to lose. We lost to Chelsea previously, to Crystal Palace. It was all like pointing to a loss, and we lost. And it was a really hard feeling, right? But right now, I am like so in love with this team, with the personnel on that team. I am so in love with that front three, with that midfield. The backline, with some of them, not everyone, but I really like this team. I love this manager. I have confidence in Antonio Conte, and what I have also confidence in, that even if we lose, even if that happens, I am sure that we won't do so badly as we did against them last year. Like if we lose, I think it will be like a 1-0 at max, or a 2-1 or whatever. It won't be like a 3-0 or something stupid like that, because I know that this manager knows what it means for us as fans, to what this game means for us. And that there is always for them, Arteta fucks up again like he did against United. And maybe they do something stupid, put 5 attackers on the pitch, and we counter attack them again and again and again, and maybe we win like with a high score. But I feel like 2-1 is what I want to see. 2-1, or of course I want to see 6-0, but it probably won't happen. So
I think Dave went with a 2-1. And if you were to go for a win, that would be the one that I could see being the possibility. Would be a 2-1. A 3-1, I'm not so sure, or anything like that, but I could see a 2-1 being on the cards. It's really hard to see us keeping a clean sheet, I'll be honest. But I would say, Michael, the way that we win this game is getting maybe into halftime without conceding, or at least still being level. Because I think if we get to halftime still being at least level, that's the right position that you want to be in. Because then it starts to become anyone's game. Whereas I think in the first 20, 30-ish minutes, the momentum of that crowd that Arsenal will have and whatnot, it's not exactly a level playing field in the beginning of the game. You kind of have to sort of survive that initial wave of sort of pressure and all that sort of stuff that goes into it. And Brian has brought this up before, and Ben Kaufman brought this up before too, where Spurs have always found a way to shoot themselves in the foot in that sort of situation in the North London derby. They always find a way to concede. They always find a way to kind of maybe, how would you say, like kind of make their own mistake instead of making Arsenal force a mistake. They seem to make their own mistake and kind of conceding. And it's important that in this game in particular, we maybe learn from those sort of kind of mistakes in the past, if you ask me.
Like derbies are a really strange thing, because everything that about football kind of goes to waste. Because on one hand you would think that if you are a home team, you have a huge advantage because of the crowd that's behind you, but it also means that if something isn't going your way, it can like really fuck up the mentality of players. Because when, like, let's imagine a situation that we score first and we go into the halftime with a 1-0 scoreline to us, right? The amount of pressure on that players to go out there in the second half and perform, and to to show to their fans that we are better than this lot, and they have to like play aggressively and play like this high octane football, which in my opinion leads to more and more mistakes. You like open the cracks in your armor. Whereas when you are a team coming to another stadium on a London derby like us, right? If we concede first, that stadium will be rocking, and it also can get into players' heads, right?
Yeah,
like it did when they played us at our stadium, right? They got a red card, they conceded, and you knew the game was over at that point. Like as soon as they got the red card, I think we were 1-0 up already at that point. As soon as they got that red card, I knew the game was over. I got relaxed. I laid back on my sofa, and it was all pretty, right? So
Spot on,
a
Michael.
massive game, a lot of emotions. I am hyped for it. I hope it will be a good show.
Definitely should be. It should be a good game at least, regardless. But really appreciate you coming on, Michael. Thanks for ending us off on the right note. We had some good people to get us started off on this fan show. Now we had an excellent candidate to get us ended. The closer. We got the closer, Michael. Like I said, the pro even reminded me to get the score predictions in and all that sort of stuff. So well done to you, Michael, and really appreciate you coming on, and look forward to seeing you very soon on Friday, brother.
Yeah, lots of love, guys. Thanks for.
See you later on, Mike. Always a pleasure, buddy.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Bye, guys.
Come on, you Spurs. Buddy. Catch you soon, brother. Bye. Everybody show Michael some love. Please, everybody show Michael some love. A great person to end off with and has a lot of things to say and honestly has such a good tactical brain on him as well. But Brian, we put in the channel a few times today, kind of throughout the show, because I didn't want to do it at the end, maybe while people were kind of tuning off. I think that'd be kind of unfair to you. But now is maybe actually the time to really just maybe talk about Tottenham on tour, or even talk about that late show that, of course, is on Weird Time TV and all that good stuff. So, Brian, just want to say from me to you, thank you very much for filling in once again, brother, for David. Really, really kind of you. But yeah, thank you, brother.
Listen, as you know, Tottenham on tour have a very, very close relationship with the Irish Hotspur. And outside of YouTube and outside of our channels, I have a very close relationship with both you and David. So whenever I have the opportunity and you guys need help, like Daniel Bryan used to say in wrestling, it will always be yes, yes, yes. But yeah, it's always a pleasure to come on the show. Listen, Tottenham on tour, and I have to apologise because it's mainly down to me. I've got a lot of personal issues going on right now. So trying to get content out has been a bit of a bitch at the moment when Ireland's free, or when Ben's free, or when Danny, who's in the chat, says he's free. But then you've got to remember Greek time, and you've got to try and arrange what time is good for him, and if he'll turn up on time. So yeah, only joking, Danny. You know I love you. It's mainly been me. It's why we haven't got a lot of content out, but we will be back with lots of content. But hopefully I'll do a show with Ben, and if Danny's free and Ireland's free on Thursday, just talking all things NLD. And then obviously we have the Late Show that Brian Ireland and I do every single Friday on We Are Tottenham TV. And the reason we mainly do that is, I said to Ben and Simeon, listen, you put out so much great content and do all the work, but you are missing the nighttime content because you go home to your life. So there's like, we can do a show for you. It will give us great exposure. And also it will be a chance. They have 120,000 subscribers.
Wow.
And you don't know the percentage of what time zones they're in, if they're on the West Coast like you, Jack, or if they're Australia, Korea, China. And they may be members, but they never get to come on the fan shows like this because of the time. So we're like, why don't we do that for you? And we've done 6 shows. They've been very well received. And we'll be back again this Friday with another one of the late shows, which starts at 8 p.m. Eastern, which is 1 a.m. UK time, but it's going to be a a filth bonanza, and just trash talk and hopefully getting the spirits up for what is going to be a huge fixture with hopefully the right result.
Definitely. Hopefully the right result, certainly. And everybody, nonetheless, though, when you're looking for that bit of that Friday pump up, a bit of that Friday preview before the big day on Saturday, do check out their late show on the Weird Time TV channel. You'd be hosted by the two Brians. Excellent 2 hosts there. And also just check out Tottenham on Tour in general. Even though the content isn't there up right now, I would say it's coming very, very soon nonetheless. And also just show them the love, please. I mean, Spurs fans at the end of the day, and they also, like Brian said, are very, very close to us over here on the Irish Hotspur. So just show them some love nonetheless. But that'll be all, I think, for the rest of the evening, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow, I believe. When it comes to I think we're going to be back tomorrow with I believe it's actually an Arsenal sort of debate show. We were going to be speaking with the likes, I think, with Ben and whatnot from Weird Time TV, but I think it's sort of kind of switched around the schedule, everybody. So tomorrow, I think we're having a debate show with some Arsenal fans. And then also, I think Thursday is going to be then a sort of talk show with the likes of Ben from Weird Time TV and whatnot. So plenty of content to be coming out. Stats with Jack coming out this week. Very important Stats with Jack for the likes of this North London derby. We have the other fan show on Friday. I think the podcast being released tomorrow morning too. So everybody, big, massive week. Plenty of content coming out for you guys. So do stay tuned. Hit that notification bell. Hit that like button on your way out. But as always, everybody, come on, you Spurs. And in Conte we trust. We will be seeing you.